Umpire, Mr. Kyle Keith. And referee, Mr. Mike Estelle.
Welcome back, folks. We're on a different link here as a pregame show. I hope you enjoy as we go, as Jaydon and Foley ready for the call.
And indeed we are. As coming in the phaseway and bring it to the scoreboard over behind the right side field goal post again, alongside the talented Jaydon Gay and Bryan Foley. And Jaydon, as we get even closer towards kickoff, again, you mentioned the defense as going to have to really hold true, as giving up points, especially over the past few games. If you take a look at New Prairie, just surrendering well over 30 points in the past two, just kind of a different way to go about things as we get even closer. As the same is for, look at the other side of the ball, South Bend Adams, as looking to lead the charge over on the defense as one of the players that Mr. Josh Reagan overlooked. Lamar Shaw, 8.3 tackles a game. And just tell me your perspective on if it'll really come up to him to carry the defense on his back, or if he's going to have to be further helped along with people like Jarrell Jones or Carson Bryce.
Yeah, man. Defense is going to be important. And I think Lamar Shaw, he's been playing great this season, for the Cougars. But yeah, he's going to have help, man. Defense is a team effort, just like offense is, but especially on defense. Everybody's got to rally to the football. You got to be physical. You got to come up and hit. Everybody's got to be on their P's and Q's. So it's going to have to be an overall group effort. And I want to see that out of both defenses tonight, but especially New Prairie as they take the field here with their flags, and the fans are excited and pumped up. But yeah, that's going to be the key for me for defense side of football.
Indeed. In defense, we take a look at just how many times over the course of history, and especially at the pro level, that defense really does win championships. Of course, the most prime example, at least comes to my mind, is when Seattle and the Denver Broncos went to bout in Peyton Manning's final Super Bowl. We obviously, I think even the average football fan knows that the Seahawks really got going as a potential dynasty then too, as the remaining personnel of the Cougars of New Prairie coming out onto the field, and especially on a beautiful Friday afternoon, the golden cascade of the sunset over the field. There really isn't anything like Indiana football. In some cases, Indiana is seen as a basketball town, but especially when you have figureheads like Peyton Manning, you would think that Indiana loved football, no?
Yeah, man, that's a legend, right? That's Indiana right there, man. Football, Peyton Manning, the Colts, and right here on our level with New Prairie and South Bend Adams, they're looking to, further cement that, and just have a great night, man. Like I said, it's nothing like Friday night football, man. I've been there so many times, and it's a fun atmosphere, and you get to go compete for 4 quarters and just have the time of your life, but also play to win. And these guys are both trying to do that tonight on each side. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, as we see the captains going over for prospective teams, the two that caught my eye, at least originally for New Prairie's side of the football, number 3, Reed Robinson, and Noah Oberle, number 5. Robinson listed as both a quarterback and a defensive back, while his counterpart Oberle, number 5, at defensive back and running back. And again, these two, both seniors. Robinson sitting at just under 200 pounds, 5'11", also just under 6 feet tall. As for Oberle, a speedy 5'6", 155 pounds. Certainly two different styles of play potentially, especially defensively.
Yeah, man. Reed Robinson, he's kind of the go-to guy for New Prairie offensively, running the football, throwing the football, and playing a little defense, and you got Oberle as well. So doing the same thing. So it's like these guys, really contribute a lot to this football team, and you can see how they get involved in the game plan.
Well, we hear the audio coming right back on in, both teams running to their respective sides, pumped up as ever. And again, alongside Jaydon Gay, Bryan, hopefully, and stay to remind the audience one more time, we take a pause as, again, both Jaydon and myself working remotely. And I'm coming from Massachusetts, which don't know if that's relatively close to where you're tuning in from, Jaydon.
Oh, well, yeah, I'm actually tuning in from Atlanta. So I'm in Georgia right now. Calling the game with you tonight, Bryan. But hey, still excited, man, to watch some football. Feels like I'm right there in action in the press box, as we're about to kick off here. But yeah, this will be a really entertaining one, man. I'm looking forward to see who starts off fast first. Who's going to create that first big play, first big turnover, first big first down. That's what I'm looking for tonight out of one of these teams.
Well, I can certainly agree with you there, as it just seems like with the final scores coming in after taking a look at the first 3 weeks, that it just seems like once one team is able to snowball, that is really the team that ends up pulling it out, as 51-14, looking at the game versus Northwoods for New Prairie. One they want to forget. And away we go as South Bend Adams will rifle one over along the sideline, and it will dribble its way over and out of play back deep, as coming in to start their first offensive sequence is New Prairie.
Yeah, I'm interested to see, how they get started here. Obviously, you got to imagine that Ray Robinson is going to be a big part of this offensive game plan. As I mentioned, he has been their focal point on offense. So, they might have some quarterback runs, or we'll see if he can throw the football a little bit here. But as they line up here, two to the left side, one receiver on the right. So one running back in the backfield.
Well, look to try to spread their wings a little bit, and kind of ironic spreading them against the Eagles, as we'll have the opening play. It looks to be a run up through, not too much forward momentum, as it appears it'll be for a minimal game. The ground game going to be really relied on, it seems, by New Prairie, as both in the passing and the rushing categories, Robinson, the senior, and more specifically, Reed Robinson, leads the Cougars in those respects. And just to touch back on the fact you said that you're tuning in from Georgia, you certainly know competitive football probably better than most other schools in the nation. So I'm sure for you, this is going to be very interesting to see some more Midwest style of play.
Yeah, man, it should be. It's going to be very interesting. Like I said, we got a lot of competitive football down here, and we got looks like a fumble by Robinson, but it looks like New Prairie was able to recover it. But yeah, I'm excited to see some Midwest football, man, and see how you guys do it out there. But down here we also love football in this state. So
certainly, and UGA probably bringing more excitement with sports than some might even say the Atlanta Falcons. Although with Michael Penix Jr., hopefully the Falcons will be on the up and up, especially after again going to a bit more youth at the quarterback position.
Yeah, most definitely.
Well, New Prairie again will line up as we're down to 3rd down and 11, and it's a quarterback keep on the outside. He'll keep on pushing as he's knocked down just about the 25-yard line, but it will not be enough. So New Prairie, unfortunately, in front of the home crowd to get things rolling in their first series, will look to potentially kick this ball away, as stepping very back and very deep with his back facing his home end zone, more than likely be kicker number 82, Kayleen O'Donnell.
Yeah, and a quick 3 and out there for New Prairie. And I said that it's going to be key for one of these teams to start out fast, get a big first down or a big turnover. And New Prairie was not able to do that here on their first drive. So, they look to come back on the next possession a bit better on offense.
And indeed, and they hope it won't necessarily be a situation like, and I've mentioned the Buccaneers already on this broadcast, but the 96 Bucks, where it's the defense is really keeping them kind of in close contention with their opponent on any particular day, but the offense is just not really finding a way through. And again, you look at New Prairie, they've been able to have some consistency with getting on the board at least twice. And you would think that maybe seeing that consistency is something that they could run on, although when that's put up versus the opposing South Bend St. Joseph with 43, and then again we mentioned Northwood 51, might feel minuscule, but it'll be a handoff that'll be shaded on the outside to the left, trying to create some room, but coming up short in that regard. Look to be Cleo Kimbrough, But again, opening runs for both sides and nothing going.
Yeah, both teams look like they want to start off, running the football and get that ground game established, but so far not working. So looking to see if the offensive line can clear some holes, and we got a pass here, and that's going to be caught and making moves. Great play there.
Love that, as we're getting up to just in front of the 40-yard line, able to clear midfield, and the short range, almost check down passes really carry their weight in gold, as it's again chipping away at the limestone, if you will. And for South Bend Adams, this could be the bloop before the blast, common baseball reference, that they might be able to rip off something big here. Over in the shotgun with a running back behind. He'll look left and has an open man towards the sideline. Breaks one tackle, a second defender coming in. And the Cougars eventually able to get him down, mark him at about the 43-yard line.
Yeah, and I like the play calling here so far for South Bend. It was, you got to stuff on the run play on the first offensive play there, and then you get the first down, albeit in a pressured pass, and you get a nice screen play there as we got a good run. And yeah, like the mix. We said balance, offensive attack, right? That's what you got to see. Keep the defense guessing.
And especially going linearly, because in a linear fashion, there are some opportunities where you can see if one side of the ball is a bit more athletic than the other. So for a running back, if you're seeing that your upcoming attackers on the line are a bit slower off of one side, try to create gaps there, as a gap was opened prematurely. But by the time that the running back getting to the spot, it just ended up closing right back up on itself. So looking at ourselves at a potential 1st and 10 now, as we'll reset things here. So it didn't seem like it was a whole lot, but sometimes a whole lot is not needed in order to be able to get where you need to go. Go ahead, Jaydon.
Oh, no, I was just saying, yeah, man, just 3 yards in a cloud of dust, right? That's the saying, as a missed pass there, but you just got to take it one play at a time, man. Even if it's 2 or 3 yards of pop, as long as you're getting positive yardage and you're staying somewhat ahead of the chains, as long as you don't get behind the chains, that's the key. I think South Bend needs to just focus on just getting positive yardage each play, moving off the football, not going backwards, right? You don't want the offensive line going backwards, your quarterback going backwards. You need to move forward.
It seems like the big guys up front are being able to hold their own, at least, and by no expectations are we looking for them to do their best Jeff Saturday impression, as there's a handoff on the outside over to Carson Bryson, and he gets a bit of daylight before he's wrapped up, but a huge gain for the Eagles right in front of the caravan of buses that are along the street side. But the Eagles slowly creeping their way closer. They're just a touch into the red zone, as there's another handoff. The run game seems to be, doing its magic, whether it's just trying to wear down the defense or in what we just saw in the penultimate play, big yardage.
Yeah, and you saw there Carson Bryce, man, the bell cow for this team, averaging 115 rushing yards a game, and we'll see if he can get them into the end zone here, or looks like we have a pass and now a quarterback run coming up just short. It's like near the 10-yard line. So, yeah, running game doing well for South Bend so far.
Yeah, man, Caden Keene really leading the troops in that regard, as Keene so far in 3 games, 33 carries and 34 yards entering tonight, averaging, again, just about a yard carry. And has 1 touchdown on the year, as Keene will hand it off again up the middle, and right on the doorstep of the end zone are the Eagles. So it'll be 1st and goal, as the Eagles really starting to kind of open up their offensive opportunities. And again, we look at how things really shaped up previously. They did have a very decisive victory over Culver Academies, and this one is absolutely going nowhere. The defense really clogging the hole up the middle. And for New Prairie, this is really gridiron. It's go big or go home, especially here in this opening sequence.
Yeah, man, you got to stand tall here. Brian, if you're New Prairie defensively, you're backed up here against your own goal line. You got to make a stop. You got to get this offense to kick a field goal, get them off the field. And for South Bend, that running back dive play is going to be there. It looks like all night, until New Prairie is able to stop it, as
stutter step, and he's in, waltzing into the end zone, a touchdown. So South Bend really getting rolling now. Caden Keene deciding to do it all on his own. And I mean, Jaydon, that was just about as pretty of a play as you could draw up.
Yeah, just took it right through the gap of the defense, man. You know, in that middle of that New Prairie defensive line has been open this whole drive. So I expect South Bend to continue to go to that side of the field, go through the middle of that defense until they're able to stop it. But nice play there by Keene. Almost 7-0 here, pinning the extra point for South Bend.
And line up to get the extra point, and the PAT looks to be good. So the Eagles already out ahead 7-0 on the road against the New Prairie Cougars. As you also kind of take a look at each size of the roster, and it almost seems as though that South Bend Adams is kind of understaffed, if you will, as compared to how many represent the gold and navy blue for New Prairie. But do you think in some ways that a smaller roster is more beneficial, especially for athletes coming up through a system in a sport that it's kind of hard to get playing time as you get older?
Yeah, I think it creates the spot where, you know, if you're a coaching staff, you know what you have, right? You know where guys are, as opposed to a bigger roster. You know, you got a lot of players, and you may be a competition, a revolving door at certain positions. For the roster, though, yeah, you know what you have.
And indeed, true, kind of, again, knowing what you have and hoping that potentially some of the guys that you don't immediately see on the instant stats will come up, especially as this game progresses. We're still very early on, 6:05 remaining here in the opening quarter. South Bend Adams with the early 7-0 lead against their rival New Prairie Cougars. Jaydon Gay alongside, and I'm Bryan Foley taking you in for the call as there's a squibber all the way down to the end zone, and will look to be a touchback. So for New Prairie, they will get up with starting positioning. And what's something different that they can really roll into this next possession with to create more success, Jaydon?
Yeah, I think you're going to have to implement the passing game here. You know, I know they like to run the football. I know they like to run with Reed Robinson and, Oberlay, but you're going to have to be able to balance both here, you know, or create push to get some yards in the run game. You know, I think until South Bend sees the threat of a pass game, they're not going to respect it. They're going to clog those run lanes. So you got to be able to sprinkle in both in creative ways.
And trying to, again, get the tarp a bit more over will be the Eagles on the defensive side of the ball, and a pop-up over the head, but diving immediately to the ground to be able to get a bit of a hand on it was Reed Robinson. And my goodness, that one nearly could have spelled trouble, as Cougars will be backed up quite a bit, almost at the potential for a safety if the Eagles are able to break through this line. But terrible time to have this come up, especially first play.
Yeah, that's not what you want to do. Trust me, on your first play of your second possession. But luckily, they're able to get back on it. So I think right now, just get positive yardage and give your punter a good chance. Good field position there for your defense.
The interior handoff and a bit more of what the Cougars would want to see, almost like Mike Allstott up the gut. And this one will be for a considerable amount of yardage. It will still put them, though, at 3rd and 11. So again, getting a bit more back, but with potentially new receivers coming in for New Prairie, might give them a chance to have an opportunity to open up, as you kind of look at kind of receivers with unique abilities and what kind of makes them stand out. Kind of look at T.Y. Hilton and his abilities of getting open, as a snap will get a little bit low to the outside, as a defensive line will come through for the Eagles, and he's going nowhere. Eagles swarming in on the sack. And for the Cougars, already down pretty deep, it's going to be 4th and long.
Yeah, we saw them take a pass there, but just couldn't find anybody open downfield, and Robinson not able to get out of the way of the pressure there, and he goes down for the sack. So great play there by South Bend's defense, but you got to throw that ball away if you read Robinson.
Looked to be Jayan Hicks over in the mix for that sack. Probably going to get some credit over there at 6 foot, 330 pounds. Not exactly someone you want to receive a bear hug from, as the grass will initiate a high kick that will pop it up. Carson Bryce taking it over to the outside, and he's going to get pummeled, especially
that's a flag
by the tent. So potentially a late hit that might come in through here. And if this ends up kind of standing here for South Bend Adams, everything has been going right thus far.
Yeah, and if you're New Prairie, you just can't do that. Like I tell guys all the time, when the player goes out of bounds, just leave them. You can't hit them out of bounds. The ref's going to see it every time. They're going to call it every time. And now you're making that worse for your team when you commit those type of penalties. So, not the way you want to start the game off here if you're New Prairie at home.
And we'll take a look to see again if this is against New Prairie or South Bend Adams.
John Adams will start there.
Motion was hit off to the right side of the screen, but it looks like this ball will be marked up just behind the 40-yard line. And again, prime field positioning for South Bend Adams, especially given the fact they've been able to rip off a couple of big plays.
Yeah, and now you got good field position, and you can really do a number of things here, offensively. So we'll see what that entails.
Quarterback keeper, and then a pitch on the outside, bobbled in the air, but somehow able to get positive yardage. We'll give him about 3 as performing a juggling act of sorts. Amani McNeil, the junior 5'9", 180-pound receiver, also a defensive back on the other side of the football. But for South Bend Adams, they're going to keep on rolling just how they've always been, at least over the past few plays. And then another run right up the gut will push them up to about 3rd and 7.
Yeah, they're able to run the football here, pretty well so far this game. And like I said, you get field position like that, you got to be able to capitalize on it. So we'll see if they can take advantage of that. Nice little the shovel pass there, a little Patrick Mahomes-esque, right? See him make that play a lot in the NFL, and just surprised to see here at the high school level. I would think coaches are like, hey, no, don't do that, right? So, but
able to at least give themselves a chance to be spread open. And deception, you can clearly tell that the coaching staff is using all the mental gears to be able to try to create something and a bit more of a disruption, and trying to get on the outside, but unable to do so with Carson Bryce. And he tried to keep the outside left edge, but for New Prairie, there'll certainly be a big statement here as they're forcing out the punting unit.
Yeah, and that was a good stop there by New Prairie's defense, and that's what you want to see, right? If you're that coaching staff on that New Prairie sideline, you want to see your defense get a stop, get your offense back on the field after a rough first possession, and that's why I said, making that big defensive stop, getting momentum for your team is going to take plays like that.
As again, we'll look to getting an opportunity of trying to really get the ball rolling here off the 1st and 10, and it'll just be a bit of a softer forward progression as quickly checking in on the sidelines for New Prairie, quarterback Reed Robinson. And with a little bit better field positioning, as you keep mentioning, that the passing game is really going to have to come alive here, even beyond just getting it to work, is just the principle of just even using it. Really will hope to get a chance to see a bit more of a dynamic look as he'll take the ball himself off of the left side, dancing through traffic, breaking one tackler and dragging 2 with him as he'll spin to just in front of the 45-yard line. Reed Robinson carrying the entire state of Indiana, it seemed like, on him.
Yeah, Bryan, that was a nice play. We know, like we said, Reed is the offense here for New Prairie, and South Bend Adams knows that, but yet, they couldn't stop him there. So that's going to be the key throughout this game. He's going to get the ball in a lot of situations. Are you going to be able to slow him down, if not stop him? It's kind of like you're playing the Bills or the Ravens, right? Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen are going to get the ball a lot, and they're going to run with it a lot. So are you able to stop it? And that's the question. So we got to stop at your play here.
As we see Not so sure what it could have been. Just looks like a little push. New Prairie back, though, 5 yards. In what might be a false start, as you did see the interior linemen kind of already get the arms on one another. So pushing this back for New Prairie, and this was touching back on what you said, is that you can't make the, quote unquote stupid mistakes, especially if you're down, and especially if you haven't even gotten a score up on the board.
You know what my head coach told me all the time, man? He said, I said, I don't get offensive linemen jumping off sides. You know the snap count, so there's no way you should jump off sides, And that's something that I thought about, man. And as the longer I played, and even now that I've stopped, I realized like there is no way an offensive lineman should jump off sides because he knows some snap count. The defense doesn't. So you got to clean those up. You can't have those penalties, man.
Yep, and especially considering now with the play losing and kind of keeping the yardage back, looking at about 3rd and 12. And some offenses are able, though, and looking back to, again, the offensive side of the football, and in this case for New Prairie, there are some offenses that really run well on the fact that they can kind of go ISO, just like in basketball with one player. But we'll see if the Eagles, South Bend Adams, can make some form of adjustment knowing this, as people are just stood up a little bit past the 45, might give them the 46 to the 47-yard line. But again, we're ticking down a minute and 41 seconds remaining in the opening quarter. Jaydon Gay, Bryan Foley on the call virtually, as when discussing a bit of Georgia football, whereas Massachusetts certainly a bit more of a softer approach to the game. And of course, with Georgia having a powerhouse in UGA, UGA, hopefully, have an effect, especially with high schools across the nation, as we have a breakaway on the outside. Robinson getting it through tacklers, and he's going to get all the way to the end zone. No, we're going to potentially getting out of bounds on the outside. Let's see what the pause might be, but this is understanding for New Prairie.
Holding penalty against New Prairie.
Might push them back a bit. What did you see on the play?
Yeah, man, that was an amazing play there by Reed Robinson. And we said again, and that's going to go against New Prairie. Oh, and it's going to take off one more play. Great play, though, by the Cougars. Unfortunately,
credit Reed Robinson with a gain of 9 yards from that spot. A 10-yard penalty for holding moves the ball to the 46-yard line.
9 yards.
3rd down at 8.
But it does make a bit more sense seeing as all of a sudden it was shot out of a cannon. But holding penalties, sure as you know, will drive a coach crazy.
Oh, man, listen. Holdings will drive a coach absurd. Especially when you have a play like that and he gets called back for a holding call. This could have been avoided. Hey, sometimes you just got to let the guy go. The other play has been possessed. Let the guy go.
Try to let him go here. Robinson almost goes up.
Number 3, Reed Robinson, the ball carrier. Tackle down number 11, Caston King.
40-yard line on the other side of the field. So
gain of 13 yards to the Eagles' 41-yard line. Good enough for a Cougar. 1st and 10.
And coming up for, at least South Bend Adams following this matchup with New Prairie on the 19th of September. They'll be taking on South Bend St. Joseph, hosting that matchup. And as opposed to New Prairie, again, following this matchup with South Bend Adams, will be Elkhart, also on the 19th. And we'll have one taken up. And
number 29, Carson Sinka, the ball carrier. Gain of 5 yards to the 36-yard line. 2nd down and 5.
On that play, Carson Sinka.
End of the 1st quarter with the score, John Adams 7, New Prairie 0.
Looks like we'll take a timeout here. Jaydon, so far as we get to the closure of this opening quarter, what's really been the honest reaction that you've gotten out of this?
Well, I think both offenses took a while to kind of get settled in. Obviously, South Bend got on the board first, but New Prairie, man, they're been able to move the football down the field this series. Got the touchdown call back, but obviously that run game with Reed Robinson is going to be there all night if South Bend cannot stop it. So my question is for South Bend Adams, can you stop Reed Robinson in that run game? And for New Prairie, I mean, can you continue to utilize that, but also again, sprinkle it in with some passes, maybe some screens, RPOs, some jet sweeps, what have you. Just keep that defense off balance and continue to run the clock, control the clock. Time possession is going to be important. You got to stop with the penalties, man. Stupid penalties. You can't have stupid penalties when you want to win football games. So they're going to have to clean that up as we move throughout the game.
And there'll be a bit of time left in the opening quarter to see if one more play can get spun off. And looking at the receiving core for New Prairie, you want to be able to try to give people such as Coulter Smith an opportunity to get the ball in his hands, as in 3 games with 2 receptions, 20 yards, and then averaging 6.7 yards a game. You might be able to get some fire more lit with that. That he might just be the flint that's needed for the offense, as there's an immediate push forward. And there's actually a breakthrough into the second quarter. And with quarter number 1 coming to a close, already an early South Bend Adams lead 7-0, again on the road versus the Cougars of New Prairie. And we're coming to you remotely covering Indiana high school football, as of course the Indianapolis Colts having probably such a great effect on high school athletics, high school football. But it's also the basketball side of things, too, that you see, obviously, with Reggie Miller and Peyton Manning, probably the most 2 famous athletes in Indiana.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Pacers made it to the finals. Let's not forget, just this past NBA season. So, and we're an injury away from probably winning it all with Tyrese Halliburton. So
1 yard to the 34-yard line.
Indeed, a tough defeat for the Pacers, but hopefully here for New Prairie, they'll be able to not even get home a state title. Not happen, but especially for the all gold, it would be one of the more monumental moments of their careers. But they will break away as getting over to the far sideline for New Prairie, Charlie Luskowski, along with Trenton Mamaza. 3 on that left side as Robinson will keep it himself and trying to dance around the traffic, and he's able to and dance through up in front of the tent, getting in for concussion protocols. So over on that South Bend Adams side with a good run there, as you mentioned, is the defense able to stop Robinson? But another flag on the play.
Let's see who this one is on, Brian. The defense is going to have to figure out a way to contain Reed Robinson. This guy is just going to almost who this is on.
Gain of 5 yards by Reed Robinson at the end of the play. A 5-yard penalty for face mask. Moves the ball to the 24-yard line.
And a face mask that will get them up to the 24-yard line. So knocking on the doorstep of the red zone are the Cougars. And for once, it seems like a flag going in their direction, as, again, they had a big rip of a play that would have tied this game up had it not been for a holding call. Again, this was back in quarter number 1. So Robinson almost lost the football, but hands it right up the middle, and they'll try to break on through. And they're able to at least get through the 20s of the yard lines and get up right near the front edge of the end zone. So great movement and continuous movement for New Prairie.
Yeah, I mean, they're just driving that football up the middle of the field. I think it's going to work here for the Cougars. Continue to run the football through the middle of that South Bend Adams defense. It seems like that's where most of their yardage is coming from. So I expect them to continue to attack that area.
And we'll look to just get any area open to be able to try to run through. But this time, Robinson stopped immediately up in his face, at least apparently, had been number 77, Gavin Ladura. The tackle 6'4", 230. And despite Reed Robinson, again, holding some weight of his own at $195 at 5'11", still probably grateful that he wasn't on the ground in a full sack pursuit for New Prairie.
Yeah, definitely not. But right here in the red zone, this is where key opportunities make themselves available, and you got to be able to punch it in when you get down here between the 20s and into the 10s.
So look to try to get right up on the line, and another dive through. They'll try to say that he's able to at least get up, as Noah Oberle certainly fired up in that case after getting the football. And over on the side, Reed Robinson getting a look in to try to decipher what the next move should be. And through this entirety, especially coming off of 3 straight losses, how nice it would be, especially in front of the home crowd, to try to take this one here. And after a bit of we'll call it controversy again with the calls, we'll see if they're able to come through and score. And it's a bit of a drag against the running back Noah Oberle for the defense of South Bend Adams, and they're able to keep him away as we're looking at a 2nd and 1.
Yeah. That's going to be, again, run game is going to be a big focal point of this Cougar offense. We know that, especially when they get down here in the red zone. So interesting to see how committed they are to it, and if they're going to keep running it, even when it seems like South Bend has kind of caught up to that, so we'll see 3rd and 1, how they plan to go about this here.
As they'll line up with a running back over to the left of Robinson, and he'll take the ball himself, diving forward. He'll take a look to see they're signaling touchdown for at least his teammates. And indeed, they are going to celebrate, as it seems to be the case. Can't officially tell Robinson coming through. And indeed, a touchdown for New Prairie, and the Cougars tie this thing up at 7 apiece.
Nice play there. And again, Reed Robinson, like I said, this is like Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen. Like, who's going to get the ball, and you still can't stop it. Just great play there by Robinson and that Cougar offense to punch it in to the end zone.
Yeah, guys. I mean, just a good play there up the middle. I mean, just a really good play to get there and to get a touchdown, ties game up maybe.
Well, certainly indeed, and we welcome in the very talented Dustin Carrasco tuning in as well, and alongside Jaydon Gay and Bryan Foley. And Dustin, for our viewers at home, where are you tuning in from?
Yeah, I'm tuning in from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Yeah, I mean, got here a little late, but yeah, I'm here, boys.
Well, we're glad to have you along for the broadcast, as again, Jaydon and I in the pregame looking at really how the run game is going to be carrying a lot of the offensive work for both teams, but it's the passing that really comes in. And just from what you had seen coming into, the paperwork of this game and just getting the preview, what is it really going to take for both sides, as we'll look at potentially a 2-point conversion, although this one is not going anywhere. And so he was holding the 1-point lead. So a failure to get anything forward there. But again, is this potentially enough momentum to at least try to create a bit more of momentum and a bit more spirit into the game?
I think so. I think you had to go on the board here if you were New Prairie, just to get some moment, get some positive morale on that sideline and get your offense flowing. Obviously, seeing points on the scoreboard does a number. It's like you're playing basketball, seeing the ball go down in the hoop. It helps you, right? The same thing here for New Prairie, getting those points on the scoreboard, and it'll help their team on both sides moving forward throughout the game. So.
As we'll zoom back out, New Prairie will be set to kick away. 7-6 your score. Dustin, what's your kind of experience with football? Didn't know if you were either a collegiate level player or high school, or just your, again, kind of experience around football.
Yeah, so I played a football in high school, but yeah, I mean, was about it. I didn't really go, to college for it or go pro or anything. But yeah, I mean, as a fan, my love for football is endless, for sure.
As we'll take in the kickoff here is South Bend Adams and getting up to just beyond the 25, get them down to the 27-yard line. So Eagles will get to work here. And speaking of Eagles, of course, the interstate rivals of presumably your hometown Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm sure kind of seeing how the season will go this time. Do you think it'll be yet another winning season for Pittsburgh?
Yeah, I mean, most likely, they got a good team out there. So, I believe they will. But yeah, I mean, really, only time will tell.
And certainly is the case there. And at this game here in New Carlisle, Indiana, excuse me, as rolling out to the right with a bit of time to throw and completing the pass is Jaydon Keene, as play then concluded over along the sideline. We'll look to see here as we get to second down and how much really was gained here. And at least for the moment, nothing at all, if not very little, but will still remain at least on the scorebug at 2nd and 10 with the quarterback with one running back behind him off to the right. And getting through one tackle, Carson Bryce, before he's being brought down just in front of the 30.
Yeah, Carson Bryce, man, great player, as we know, for South Bend, leads them in rushing yards, and he's going to be getting a focal part of their offense. But one thing I did want to note out here, guys, in the broadcast is that the centers, on both sides are going to have to work to continue to get this ball down on the snaps on the passing plays. Just something to keep an eye on as we move throughout the game here. Been a lot of high snaps.
And we see another one here a bit better, but we'll also get a stoppage of play here. We'll find out in just a moment on if there was a flag. And indeed, there will be a false start on South Bend Adams, so push him back. And we talked about sort of the penalty woes of New Prairie, but a bit strange to see that here out of South Bend Adams.
Yeah, this is usually a well-disciplined team, and penalties, again, you can't have them. Things like this, false starts. I mean, you guys know the snap count, so there's really no reason to jump, but it happens. So,
and trying to break through a bit of the traffic here on the run and diving out across the 30-yard line will be Keene. And we'll see yet another flag on the play. So a bit of controversy already, as we'll see a change in the guard of some sorts, as one player for New Prairie stepping onto the field will be Landon Harmon, the lineman, 6'3", 214, and the junior.
Yeah, and me and Jaydon, we kind of experienced this a little bit in that first game where we broadcast as, there was, maybe about 20 penalties in that one. So back-to-back penalties, we're kind of familiar with that part of the game.
What may be tough to overcome, certainly, as checking in at least are the kind of front three in front of the punter and the rifling away of the football as the Cougars are able to get by one tackler and will get up to just about the 40-yard line, mark them down at the 38.
Well, yeah, that was a nice return there. And we'll see New Prairie go back out here on offense. And I want to see if they can continue to sprinkle in the pass game and the run game with Reed Robinson, as he was able to take them down the field and score in the last drive. So they want to replicate that success here, and continue to drive the football down the field as they've been able to do. Got to limit the penalties, though. You can't have those stupid penalties. Again, we've been saying that all game. Especially because it kills offensive drives. Those kill offensive drives. You get first down, and then it gets to be, 1st and 15, or 2nd and 15. You can't have those.
No, again, everyone on the same page as they'll take the opening handoff up, but not for many yards. New Prairie may be getting one. If, in fact, they actually go back a yard, as we're now at 2nd and 11. And you look at Grayson Goodman along with Noah Oberle, they both will surely want to get in the end zone on the ground, with Goodman not having as many carries as Oberle taking 27 from Robinson as opposed to Goodman 6. So the stats, of course, are going to look a bit different, but with Goodman, his longest run was 10 yards. So the ability to at least create a bit more space is there, even if he's not necessarily RB1. And we'll get a handoff on the outside, or it could have been a keep by Robinson. Get through a sea of white and gold before being tackled down just at about the 45-yard line.
Yeah, and like I said, that play is going to be there all night long. It's going to be there until Adams can stop it. And Reed Robinson is going to say, "Hey, coach, keep running it, man, until they can stop it." And he loves running that football. Like I said, I see the Josh Allen, I see the Lamar Jackson, right? Those guys that could just take off, and the defense knows it, and you still can't do anything about it. We'll see if he continues to call his own number here and run the football. And we got another flag on the play, guys.
Oh, my goodness. Not
laundry
again.
party.
Yeah, as we'll see here what that might be. Could have been a holding of some sort. It was a good run, nonetheless, of trying to get over the 50-yard line. But again, the second play of half that cost New Prairie potentially.
Yeah, there, Jaydon, just talking about it, I guess, kind of brought up something. But yeah, I mean, it's flags in these close games are usually crucial. They're towards the end, and so yeah, I mean, you just really don't need these penalties right now. And New Prairie might have kind of shot themselves in the foot right there.
Certainly will hope that that is not the case if you're any faithful to New Prairie. But as we'll push them back, 3rd and 14, 4:37 to go in the half. Again, a 1-point contest as New Prairie showing a bit of life here. Robinson will elect to keep the ball himself, although he's being pursued, and he's able to get by one, and he'll look to get across the field, and plenty of white jerseys chasing him, and he'll get the ball off, but be incomplete.
Yeah, guys, and it looked like he had a defender or a wide receiver there, but just not able to get it to him. I mean, it kind of looked like maybe a little pitch and catch there, but maybe just
Number 82, Luis Cruz in punt formation for the Cougars.
Hey guys, it looked like he could just take off there, maybe for the first down. He decided just to throw it.
Yeah, definitely had some space to run it there, but.
Yeah, Josh. I mean, it's kind of a little mind-boggling right there. Had a lot of room there. I mean, he did have a open receiver, but just just unable to hit him on the numbers.
Carson Bryce unable to get many yards there after touching the ball behind the 35-yard line. And again, we talk in a lot of sports, creating the separation allows for more time to make the play or to see one come on through, but that can also come back to hurt you just with the kind of lining up of receivers coming downfield. So we'll see later on. We may have talking about this, but at least in my mind, that might be one of the most costly points and possessions given up by the Cougars.
Yeah, and I mean, I think we go back to that 2-point conversion. I mean, just kind of a mind-boggling play there as well. I mean, it's I think you tie it up. You make it 7-7. Instead, you go for 2. You don't get it, and now you're down 1. 4 minutes before halftime.
Yeah, and those are the risks you take when you do plays like that. They thought they could get that as well. Bryce ripping off a big run there, but those opportunities you have to capitalize on. If you're going to do that, you got to hit that 2-point conversion. But maybe the safer bet might have been tying it up with the extra point, as Dusty alluded to there. So,
In some cases, there are teams that may not be able to rely on their kicking team as much. I know, at least personally, with my high school football team, you could never see us kick the PAT just because of the uncertainty with kicking. And again, that's not to say that any of us know for certain that might be what's going on for New Prairie, but just an interesting kind of perspective there. But on the reverse side, Carson Bryce for South Bend will take things up just behind the 30-yard line. So 2 straight gives to him, and already the Eagles getting in motion here, looking to do so just before the quarter comes to a close, sitting at 4:16 to play.
Yeah, I think a good run there to the left. Kind of looks like the John Adams run offense has been doing, fairly well in this first half.
Rolling out to the right and throwing on the run, and the ball squirting out. That ball thrown in by Caden Keene, but the defense for the Cougars coming in at the very last second to swat that ball away. Thought he actually would have had enough time to at least hold on to the ball and maybe fall to the ground.
Yeah, nice play there by the defender, getting in there, knocking that ball away and not drawing a penalty, and getting that pass interference call. Great textbook defense there by the DB. And now you have third down for the Cougars.
Yeah, I think a really big third down here, boys.
And we'll look to see what happens here. Again, the 3rd and 2, the run to the outside, and it seems to be some approval coming from New Prairie's defense. And we'll get the signal from the referees. Looks to be 4th down. So the Eagles unable to get across in what they need. They are a yard short. But we'll look to see.
You go for
it? Yeah, I think you do go for it here, but it looks like he slipped there, boys. So that's a big play there.
Probably knows that he could get that same play back and get across the line had it gone a bit more smoothly. Trying to get New Prairie to jump off sides with the erratic snap count and just seeing how far down they'll go.
Yeah, if you do have a kicker, that can kick in this range, I would say, take the points. But yeah, 4th and 2, I think you could have went for that right there, but it just kind of looked like they were trying to draw them off sides.
Indeed, they look too. So timeout seemingly called for New Prairie. So again, fellas, now's the time for a lot more analysis. Again, Jaydon Gay with us for majority of the broadcast. Dustin Carrasco joining us here as we kind of transitioned over to the second quarter. But what have you liked? What have you thought is needed to improve, gentlemen?
Wow. I think the running game for both teams has been solid. It's definitely improved as we've made it through the first, couple quarters here. And I think defensively, you made some plays in both spots, but you got the penalties that have got to be, cut down. I think both coaches are going to talk to their teams about that at halftime. And I know how this goes, and you guys know as well. Coaches don't like penalties, so they're going to hear it in the locker room about that. And I expect a cleaner second half. And yeah, obviously, we got a good game here, guys, 7-6. So.
Yeah, I think penalties can be a huge factor, in a win or loss. But you go back to the 2-point conversion. I think if we don't have a kicker, that's fine. But it's just a huge point that might come back to bite them.
And we'll see again how much that might hurt them as taking the ball on the outside and coming up well beyond short. Carson Bryce and New Prairie coming up huge with the stop just before halftime comes up. And you can hear it from the crowd here in New Prairie, New Carlisle, Indiana, that stop a lot bigger than what some might believe it to be.
Yeah, they love that. And I love it too. That was a great play there by New Prairie's defense, and if you're South Bend Adams, you gotta, I think at that point, like Dusty said, you might not have a kicker, but yeah, you might have to go for those 3 points there. Hey, I shouldn't be talking. My Falcons don't really have a kicker either, but hey, here we are. And turnover on downs, boys.
Yeah, it's just a huge play right there. Fake punt does not work out, so turnover on downs.
We'll see Robinson get by one tackler, and oh my goodness, he hit the Michael Jackson on him as he'll get across the 45-yard line, mark him at the 43, actually put on the brakes to let the defender slide on by. So that's really just the Robinson effect here in New Prairie.
Yeah, I mean, just a really good move there, and just kind of breaking his ankles, some would say. But real quick, I wanted to touch on that fourth down play. So it kind of seemed like they were gonna, go for the field goal there, right? But they come back out for the punt, and they go for it, and they don't get it, guys. I mean, yeah, it's kind of a little bewildering, some would say.
Yeah, they didn't quite understand that one. But again, here we are, and it costs you to turn over on downs, and now you have a big play by Ray Robertson on the other side. I mean, this guy's just like you said, put the Michael Jackson on, a little. I mean, come on, man, that was crazy. This guy is a beast. I mean, yeah, South Bend's gonna have to figure something out.
Well, indeed they will, as again we kind of look at maybe the tale of two seasons, both not necessarily at the point they want to be, but again, this is week 4, so still a little bit of time left to be able to come through and right the ship a bit against South Bend. At least does have that first win up on the board. However, New Prairie can get themselves on the same level as South Bend if they're able to come away. Both would be 1-3 should the Cougars come away with victory tonight. And it looks like it'll be a different pass over on the near side, and it is dropping over in front. So a bit of like Tom Brady flicking it to Julian Edelman and hitting Danny Amendola for deep. That ball, that play came up just short.
Yeah, I mean, you like to see the trickery there, though, just unable to capitalize on the play. But that's what I meant, sprinkle some different things in here if you're New Prairie, because, again, we know you like to run the football. Adams has not been able to stop it, but I like to see other implements of your offensive attack to see if you can keep this defense off balance. And they just couldn't hook up there on that play.
Almost seemed like there was a deflection of the ball, or he might have been wearing the glove that could have had an effect on the trajectory, but a bit of a short gain here, maybe give him 1 or 2, as seemingly wrapping up the running back coming through was Franklin Passwater, the defensive tackle, 5'9", 202. And coming off the side, at least for the play at hand, will be Noah Oberle. Up to line up just in the shotgun as, again, 3 receivers deep over on the Eagles sideline. Robinson will again decide to take things himself, and he'll keep going up along the left side and still having a bit of room to work with. And we'll back out in just a sec to kind of see where they might be able to mark him, although we do have what might be an Eagle down on the field, so we couldn't quite tell what may have caused that. So at least for the moment, we can step aside.
At Friedman and Associates, we've been providing strong ethical advocacy for our clients for 40 years. Our practice focuses on employment law, standing up for employees who have been the victims of unfair firings or discrimination in the workplace. But we also provide legal assistance on family law, criminal defense, traffic, and DUI matters, and we'll help you get old charges expunged so your record is clean. Check out the ways we can help at laportelegal.com. Friedman and Associates, standing up for you.
And we thank our friends over at Friedman's and Associates as we tune back in here on RCSPN TV. And alongside Dustin Carrasco and Jaydon Gay, I'm Bryan Foley. All 3 of us tuning in from not necessarily Indiana, but at least for this Friday night, we're turning back the clock, well, at least for our nostalgia's sake, in getting in some good action of Indiana football.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's been a good one so far, guys. It's been very entertaining, especially Reed Robinson here for New Prairie running the football. And, South Bend Adams also able to get the running game going for themselves. Just they cannot seem to stop this Cougar offense.
Yeah, I think this Cougars offense, they have a real shot at taking the lead here. But I mean, you just talk about Robinson, right? He's really looking like Bijan Robinson out here. I mean, he's just very elusive, and yeah, let's see if they could punch it in here, boys.
Robinson will take the ball from the shotgun, keeps the ball himself to the right side. A defender will fall, trying to pursue him. He's able to get to the 10, the 5, and he's in for the score. A touchdown, Robinson. The Cougars taking the lead right out of the grasp of the Eagles. And a huge play here in front of the home faithful.
There was a flag on that play there, guys. I thought I saw a piece of laundry going on the field, and I think I was right. Yeah, we had a flag here, so we'll see if this play stands or not.
And if it does not, you cannot think of anything that might take the set. And again, it seems like it will, pointing over to the New Prairie sidelines. The frustration is probably boiling over the pot right now if you're the OC.
I mean, yeah. I mean, my bad. Go ahead.
No, yeah, you can go.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say, I mean, it's the bigger picture here, boys, is that they don't have a kicker. You know what I mean? So like, they they move it all the way back, and so if you don't get a touchdown here, you have to go for it on 4th down, and you only have 1:30 left till halftime.
Yeah. I mean, I just same thing. It's like it sounds like a broken record, right? With the penalties. I mean, you get a touchdown and now it comes back. I mean, now Robinson, here he is again, and able to continue to get these yards, but still, I mean, you can't have these penalties, man. I'm just gonna break it, just over the head here, guys, because it kills offensive drives.
Well, it can, and then any loss of confidence that might have been built up leading into the play is all washed away, as we'll have a second call here, a holding penalty on New Prairie. So the march backward will continue for the Cougars in gold. And as the clock will continue to tick down here, actually, as we're under 12 seconds to play. Well, actually, now we have a bit of a stoppage here. Leave it at 12 seconds exactly. Resetting the clock to 41 seconds. Do you think this still could be enough time for Robinson to rip off a play to at least push us to a crucial lead?
Yeah, I mean, he's already done it twice, right? So, I wouldn't be surprised, but I mean, my goodness, they're going the wrong way there, Jaydon.
Yeah, I think the end zone is that way. They're going, that way. Audience can't see me here, but I'm pointing with my hands. But you can't have these things, and they will set you back. And as Bryan mentioned, with the confidence as well, having a lot of penalties gets in your head as a player. And I know you guys can both testify that I can definitely, because it just kills momentum and it kind of kills the vibe offensively. So you're trying to draw up what you can do. 1st and 19, when you had a touchdown, you had a 1st down, but so we'll see what they are able to cook up here.
As indeed a conference of some kind is going to have to happen, and you see both teams breaking away from their respective huddles. 41 seconds remaining again in quarter number 2. New Prairie Cougars knocking on that doorstep, really almost playing ding-dong ditch with the end zone, as they've had a chance to come through and take the lead out of the talons of the South Adams Eagles, but have yet to get anything going. A bobble by Robinson. He's able to pick it up, but he's gobbled immediately by the interior lineman up front. Trying to come through and snatch that ball away potentially was Leighton Presbanowski, who also is an outside linebacker, offensively tight end.
Yeah, I mean, just a huge play there. I mean, just dropping the ball, after your 2 good runs, but 2 flags that brought back both of those runs. I mean, it's just not a good look, here for the Cougars.
Yeah, not a good look. you just can't have these plays like this. You know, you have the penalty and then you have the fumble there. It seems like I mentioned earlier, guys, the center and quarterback exchange has got to get better for these teams in the second half. We've seen a lot of high snaps. We've seen low bobble snaps and snaps that ended up almost being fumbles. So they're going to have to talk about that for sure. But we'll see what 30 seconds, what can New Prairie come up with.
And 30 seconds certainly can be plenty of for some. As you also take a look at with how some NFL teams are able to get things accomplished offensively, even within 15 seconds. And again, there's a big difference between high school and pro football. But Robinson will decide to air it out deep down the sideline. He looks to get his man here, and the defender gets his hands out of the play as quick as he can. And it's an incomplete, the deep bomb, as it was a good idea.
A little trickery.
Charlie Lukowski pass intended for number 13, Sully.
Yeah, I think Reed Robinson lined up out wide on that
Third
play.
down and 23 from the 37.
Number 8 in Charlie Lukowski, wide receiver at quarterback. But
go to him. But
yeah,
I mean, okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's pretty crazy, you know, those two plays, you know, bringing it back, but roughing the passer just puts him right back in position. So we're kind of, you know, playing like a little ping pong here, as some would say.
And hopefully with that careful approach, it will end up allowing the Cougars to be able to pull away something here, as it'll be a keep on the outside by Robinson. Flag coming in on the play, and he gets popped as he attempts to make a further escape out of the clutches of the outside defense. We'll see what the call is on the field, but that flag came in immediately after the snap.
It's like a holding.
Especially if you're the offensive. And New Prairie, again, just time and time. At this point, what do you do if you're the OC and seeing that's now 3 pushbacks here that could have at least had New Prairie up along the red zone?
I mean, I have no idea, but I know one thing. You got 16 seconds. You better figure out something, because
Indeed. We'll have a brief pause here. That ball getting snapped down may look to spike the ball, at least give a chance for New Prairie to go over matters, as going over to the sideline for the Cougars, Trenton Mamaza. And again, the senior wideout looking to be a big part of the majority of the plays as he's back out onto the field. But Robinson himself will immediately run over to the side and will actually get up into the slot, deep slot on the outside. So new look at quarterback and taking the ball and firing on deep. And this one is well overshot. Looked like there could have been a bit of contact along that far sideline, but the pass comes up just short for New Prairie.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I think good a play right there. It's just, you know, not able to connect with his receiver. You know, yeah, I mean, I think they still have a good shot, you know, at scoring here, but they're running out of chances, guys.
yeah, and it looked like that was the same play they just ran a couple plays ago. You know, and you had Robinson line up out wide and Lukowski in at quarterback. It basically just a go route down the field, and Adams played it well.
Yeah, there's a good run there to the right side. Able to pick up a couple, but I guess that's going to be halftime, boys.
And indeed it will be, as a bit of a run had some progress, but ultimately the Cougars are not able to take back the lead, as earlier on in opening quarter, South Bend Adams with a good run, able to put up a 7th spot. The Cougars looking to go for 2, cannot come away with that, so it leaves us with the 1-point match, as again the South Bend Adams Eagles looking to get up to 2 wins on the season, whereas the Cougars of New Prairie will look to earn that first victory.
Yeah, guys, it's been a good first half here, but it's going to be a 1-point game because the Cougars, whether they didn't have a kicking team or whether they just wanted to go for 2 there, they just couldn't quite convert.
Yeah, and you got to be able to convert there on that 2-point conversion, because that's missed opportunities for points. And now, like you said earlier, Dusty, that could come back to bite you later on in the game. And we see they were not able to get into the end zone, 7-6 game. So we'll see how that moves later into this contest.
Yeah, I think you might be muted there, Bryan.
It is the case, but wanted to at least hear your perspectives on both sides of the football again for New Prairie, as well as the case for South Bend Adams. And alongside again, Jaydon Gay and Justin Carrasco, Bryan Foley, we can turn things over back to Mr. Reagan and RCSPN TV with our halftime. And stick around for more New Prairie football, high school football here in the great state of Indiana.
Play It Again Sports in Merrillville is your one-stop shop for athletic gear. They buy and sell gently used equipment, helping young athletes and saving you money. Bring in your unused gear for cash or shop their selection of top-notch gear at affordable prices. From beginners to pros, they have everything you need to dominate your game. Visit 1876 East 80th Avenue or call 219-500-4327 to experience the game-changing difference.
Throw straight from the saddle to the pride, the New Prairie Marching Cougars! The New Prairie Marching Cougars are directed by Mr. Jared Jagai and Mr. Kendall Fowler. Color guard instructor is Jocelyn Contner. The percussion instructor is Kyle Whiskey. Staff technician is Dylan Liggett. New Prairie Marching Cougar students have been currently sponsored by Fire Orthodontics, BJ's Lockshop, Novak Auto Repair, Nova Basement System, Garrett Reels, and LaPorte County Sheriff's Office. This year, the Marching Cougars competitive show is entitled Thunderous. The show will feature music from Thunder by Imagine Dragons, 1812 Overture by Tchaikovsky, Thunderstruck by AC/DC, and original music from On the Field Music. Visual drill is written by Jeremy Turner. Presenting their 2025 production, Thunderous. Drum major Gavin Marino, is your band ready? You may take the field for performance.
Hey Cougars fans, get ready for an epic showdown on RCSPN TV. We're diving into the heart-pounding action between John Adams and New Prairie. From jaw-dropping plays to nail-biting moments, this high school matchup has it all. Will the Eagles soar or will the Cougars pounce? Stay tuned as we break down the key players, strategies, and what's at stake in this intense rivalry. Whether you're a die-hard fan Okay, boys, go back to the show at halftime as we go.
Yeah, guys. I mean, great matchup we had here tonight. So far, I mean, New Prairie down 6-7 to John Adams, and so far, I mean, we've seen the run game take over for the New Prairie, and also the penalties have been a big problem for both teams. But somehow, still just a 7-6 game. So, what are you guys' thoughts overall from one half of football here?
Yeah, I think I mean it was a pretty good half there. It's the sore thumb in the room is of course the missed conversion. But overall it was a really good half. Just a 1 point game, going into the second half, and it's still anybody's ball game.
I think you're muted there, Bryan.
Oh yeah, you muted.
And thankfully, though, I will say that at least for New Prairie, at least there is some sense of life offensively. So there is an opportunity to try to break through at long last. And Robinson just continuing to do what he needs to do, at least in being kind of the ISO part of the offense for the Cougars, whereas South Bend Adams, they've been playing a little bit cleaner of football, and being able to kind of maintain that will be what I think will hopefully, and if you're an Eagles fan, see them come through. But if you're on the New Prairie side of things, you're just hoping that even if it's not Robinson that gets you across the finish line and taking the lead, that you hope at least it's someone.
Yeah, and I think, again, like I mentioned, the offensive output for both of these teams needed to be better than what it's been in the last couple of weeks on a consistent basis. And so far, I mean, both teams have been able to move the ball down the field in certain spots of the game. But if we want to see that be consistent and not stalled by penalties or high snaps or fumbles. We had one turnover on downs, but no interceptions yet. So, both teams have been able to take care of the ball in that regard. But overall, tight ball game we got here, guys.
Yeah, I think a really good one at that. And I mean, some things I saw was that, of course, Robinson, looking like a complete all-star out there, a complete beast. And I mean, he was just pretty much the whole offense, for that Cougars team. Yeah, I mean, he's gonna have to do more of the same, here in the second half. If they're gonna have a chance, to win this ball game.
We'll look to get back into it at least a bit more, as again, I think the offense is within their own scopes of ceilings and floors, if that makes sense, are firing on the cylinders that they need to be. It's is again the penalties that really kind of again come down on New Prairie, and especially with the certain kinds of penalties too. That not to say that one's more acceptable than the other, but there isn't as much of precedence on not committing them. But again, the holding penalties is really what stood out to me, as New Prairie had committed at least 2.
Yeah, you can't have those. You can't have them because they destroy drives, as I have noted time and time again. You know, the guy beats you, you got to let him go. Because holding, I mean, you make a nice play like Robinson did, getting into the end zone, and then it's called back because of a holding penalty. That's the worst thing, especially when you're the offensive playmaker who scored the football, and then you realize, oh man, it's called back because of a holding penalty or whatnot, and it's the worst feeling ever, because it's like, dang, that's like almost like that play didn't happen, like it didn't count, right? So you're gonna have to clean it up in the second half.
Yeah, I mean, that drive, I think it was a huge drive there for the Cougars. They were, well, in the scoring range, but just those 2 big flags, bringing them back, right, and so there was those 2 plays. Thought you had a touchdown, and you clearly didn't. And then, but on the other side of things, it was John Adams, roughing the passer, so the Cougars still had an opportunity, but it was finally, the Cougars just not being able to score, in the final seconds, of that first half.
And again, it's just being able to kind of come back from the locker room and have a sense of urgency when you're down in those kind of situations too. And what we've mentioned at least before too, with the fact that New Prairie doesn't either seem to have a grasp on what the kicking situation might be either, as we see this a bit more in high school football than we do at the higher levels of even NAIAA football, D3. That scoring range, especially for New Prairie in this instance, can be extremely subjective. Of course, you have Robinson, who has been able to make plays with his legs the entire night, but nothing has really been that consistent with going down the field for the Cougars. So, I guess my question is what is like a safe range to be at in order to have a better chance to score if you're New Prairie?
I mean, right now they got at least stay above midfield, because right now you got to be able to move. You got to have a short field for them. It seems like that's where they've been able to operate best tonight. And moving the ball down length of the field, running with the running quarterback is not going to be able to get it every time. Especially if that is your entire offense. Again, which is why I like to see them implement some different things into their offensive attack, because you have to think that John Adams will be keying in on Reed Robinson in the second half. They might implement a spy or whatnot, which is what I would probably do if I were the team, but we will see.
And indeed we will. And certainly, gentlemen, kind of any last real mere thoughts on what is to come, especially offensively, and again, I know Jaydon, who's had, especially with the strong experience of playing football, as is the case with Dustin, you both much more experience than myself. I never suited up for my football team, but especially earlier on in the year, do you remember that there was ever a point in the year where there might have been more urgency to get back on track if you were a team that was struggling?
Oh, absolutely. No doubt. I think Dustin could agree with me there, especially now, like you got to come out swinging, firing. It's got to be a higher sense of urgency, intentional, paying attention to detail with every single thing, routes and blocking assignments, all of that. It's got to be focused in detail.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much, you just gotta, suit up every game, like it's the first game, like your record 0-0. You know what I mean? Like, there's those games where you'll go into a game, against undefeated team, and you're like, oh my god, it's undefeated team, but your mental is like, hey, like they're, we're both 0-0 here, and let's go into this like with a winning mentality. And yeah, I mean, there's just those games where you have to have a different mentality than the other players out there, other teams. And yeah, I mean, you just have to really just think, win, win, win. Pretty much.
I agree. I totally agree. 0-0. We're both 0-0. Record doesn't matter when we line up on Friday night because we haven't played each other yet. So you may be 1-1 or 2-0 or 3-0 against those other teams, but against us, we haven't played. So that's the mentality you definitely got to have and take it one play at a time, and just go out there and be physical and play football. Simple as that. Sometimes football gets really simple, boys, when it gets down to it.
Indeed, it does. And another measure to at least try to create some more simplicity is that you're still 0-0 when you come back to the second half. The first half could have been tumultuously, just horrendous for either side, or it could have been great for both. But, as we hear, it's not necessarily how you start, it's more or less how you finish. And, especially with taking a look at kind of the all-time series, right now, South Bend Adams has a chance to be able to snap the streak they've had coming into taking on New Prairie, as you're going to have to look back all the way to September 21st of 2018, or at least rather September 22nd of 1984, that South Bend Adams actually took a victory from New Prairie.
It's a long time.
So now they have a chance to do that again. Good.
Yeah, that's a long time.
Amazing to kind of see how things have progressed, and especially, which we've seen more of a grudge match this time. The last outing a year ago, September 13th, 2024, nearly to the date, 48-6 was your final in favor of New Prairie. And then before that, the Cougars shut out the Eagles altogether, 49-2. The year before that, 49-0. Whereas then it was 49-2 the previous year out of that. So it's definitely see a bit of fireworks between the two, as we have opening kickoff for our third quarter coming through, and taking it right off the rip will potentially be Bryce, as he's able to take himself and the Eagles up to just in front of the 50-yard line, past the 45, give him about the 47.
It's a great return there, giving good field position for John Adams. So we'll see how they are able to take advantage of that. And if you're New Prairie defensively, can you get a stop here? You're at midfield almost. I mean, you cannot let them punch in here to the end zone. So we'll see who's able to get the stop first, or can Adams move the ball down the field?
We'll hope to be able to see that come through for the gentleman in white, as it'll be a higher snap. We've mentioned that as well over the course of the broadcast, that the centers seem to have a bit of a stronger hand to come on through. And with minimal yardage gain there, we're looking at about a 2nd and 8 situation coming up for the Eagles. And we even, before Dustin, you joined us at the broadcast, there had been one snap for Robinson and company, I believe, that nearly could have pinned back the Cougars enough to where they'd be looking at giving up not just the touchdown, but a safety as well. So, really how important is it to have that security, especially from your boys up front?
Yeah, it's very important, as a really good run up the middle, as breaking loose.
Look to be,
and yeah, really good pickup there.
Look to be Bryce on that outside. Indeed, Carson Bryce, who listed at 5'8", 185, certainly rival the speed and strength of Ashanti Genty, the recent pick for the Vegas Raiders, excuse me. But I mean, a rip like that for the Eagles is crucial. And this is actually similar to how they started out the last time, back in the opening quarter. Again, bigger plays. And we'll hope to see something come from Caden Keene, as there's a bit more of a break up front. And just off to the right of your screen, as you can see, there's a bit of contact over with the defensive back. So to say this game is not chippy would be a bit of an understatement, would be a bit of a lie, in fact.
Hey, that's what you want to see, right? That is football. Listen, these guys are getting after it. I mean, it's a close game. Like, you're getting ready to score if you're at South Bend Adams. So, I mean, this is football, and it's got to be physical.
Looks like it could be
looks
a
like-
touchdown up the
Yeah.
middle, as Amani McKeel had potentially been the one to at least take that in. Unsure of that yet, although you immediately saw the hands go up, and there's still a bit of confusion as the pile will slowly be unearthed and disrupted.
Yeah, I mean, I think he was able to get across there. Of course, you saw the official coming in, and he was signaling touchdown all the way. But I mean, the other officials they did not think the same.
Well, it may not have been. We at least the audio sense of it, unsure. But as for the moment, 13-6 is where you find our score here. With again the Eagles potentially looking to kick on through with a PAT, but could they also decide to go at least for the 2-point conversion? We'll know that it looks like they will elect to go for the kick, as the placeholder for the Eagles here will be Kane Goddard, as the righty will line up. And again, looking at about 10:23 on the big scoreboard through, as the kick goes up and tucks the near left side and is good. Immediately, 2 touchdowns here for the Eagles, and they're starting to make a comeback, at least in the all-time series, and that will be the case if they're able to come through tonight. But, I mean, efficiency, you have to give that award to the Eagles here.
Absolutely. Great efficiency there. Running the football down the field with Carson Bryce, and they were able to move the offensive line, getting a good push up front, being physical, attacking at the point of the line of scrimmage. And that's what you want to see if you're that coaching staff for the Eagles. And they were able to punch it in the end zone. So kudos there to the Eagles.
Yeah, I mean, I think really, really nice animation there in the upper left corner of our screen. The field goal was indeed good. Able to make it 14-6, but I do think that was the right decision there. Make it an 8-point ball game. You don't really want to try to go for 2. Not get it, and then leave the margin to 7. So I think it was a really good a decision there. And yeah, I mean we have a 14-6 ball game here. Still a one score game here, boys.
Certainly can be, and particularly if the Cougars are potentially, able to get a bounce to go their way and potentially recovering a kick or getting a big rip off of the initial kickoff. But we won't see that quite yet, as the Cougars will elect to kind of take a pause here as the lines will be subbed in and out. And for New Prairie and in front of the home faithful, as you've heard, at least when the snippets of audios come through for our viewers at home. I mean, this is potentially the prime spot that you might want to be in. You do have a whole other quarter, your second possession, or really the, I call it a very big, kind of possession, especially earlier on in the third quarter, but honestly seems like the place to be. But we'll take a look as Robinson look for options and will decide to keep things with himself, not getting a whole lot there, maybe a yard or 2. 2nd and 8 is the call.
I mean, yeah, I said it, at halftime that the Eagles were going to key in on Bree Robinson there, and we'll see if they can continue to hold him to those small gains, because he's going to be running the football a lot, as we've seen in the first half. Had a touchdown called back, so maybe 2, I believe, called back. So, I mean, he's going to take the football and run with it a lot. We'll see if John Adams can contain him here.
And we'll hope to do so. A flag immediately coming in on the play right after the handoff, and run was not going anywhere. Robinson will immediately look to the sidelines. And we'll find out in a moment just exactly who this is going to go against. And if you're New Prairie and you end up getting the short end of the stick here, really a lot of questions come in as far as how disciplined that line might be, especially if you're looking at a false start scenario. Find out momentarily.
Yeah, usually when the flag is thrown in the backfield like that, to our viewers at home, usually it's either a false start or a holding. I didn't see anybody jump, so it might be a holding call that we might be discussing here, the officials, but we'll see the call in a second.
I think it's going to be face mask.
Face mask coming in. Potentially, I mean, especially with you being at the physical venue, Josh, we should probably have a better scope in on the kind of immediate foreground there. But we'll find out now as the referee will make his way over the middle of the field and make his motion.
Holding penalty
There's
against
a holding.
New Prairie. Face mask penalty against John Adams.
New
The
Prairie
penalty is
and their
offset.
blows on the O-line will
We will replay the down. Oh, at the end of the play,
Offsetting.
we will replay the down.
Yes, I mean,
There
I
will be
guess
second down. And
penalties there, you know. Whereas there was a face mask, but also a holding. So I mean, you know, the penalties kind of stacking up for both teams, but in that situation, you know, they, just offsetting, you know, they just offset, so it's not a too big of a deal, but yeah, I mean, you still do not want these penalties here, you know, because they can really, offset a drive as they did in that end of the first half.
And motioning from right to or left to right, a high snap here, and the Eagles are swarming through and getting after Robinson. He is still not down yet before at long last being slammed down to the grass. And we see this again, Jaydon, that the high snaps at some point, this is going to cost teams points in the initial sequence here.
Yeah, I mean, and I said it. You got to get the snaps down. If you're a center, you know you got to get them down. I mean, this isn't like snaps where the quarterback is not being athletic enough to catch it. I mean, these are snaps that are way too high. So the centers are going to have to work on getting this football down. I mean, you know, this is something that you practice every day. I mean, I play with the offensive line, and you know, centers worked on snaps like for 30 minutes before practice started. So you got to get that snap down.
Probably a mixture of just a typical weather snap in here. A good run on the outside that will keep people moving as it gets just out ahead of the 40-yard line for New Prairie. So right after holding call here, a bit more progression, but we'll have another flag in on the play. As I mean, there really isn't much more to say about whether or not if this goes against New Prairie's or the Cougars. What else can you really say? And it seems like this may be the very case, in fact, as you see the gold starting to march backwards.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like it's going to be another penalty there on the Cougars, and I mean, you're you're not up in this ball game, so you really can't be getting these penalties, and that one, that might be, just a really big mistake there, as that's going to be, a long set of yards there for them to gain.
We'll break away from the huddle, and we'll get back up. 3rd and 22 is where the Cougars of New Prairie stand. 9:22 remaining in the third quarter. They will have a receiver in motion, but Robinson will take it himself. He's able to get away from the initial tacklers coming up as he's just getting out by the 40-yard line, maybe mark him at the 39. But for Reed Robinson and company, a big response following yet another offensive penalty.
Yeah, it was a nice play by Robinson, and again, just right through the defense. You know it's coming if you're John Adams, but you can't stop it, and he gets a big gain out of it. So good way to make up that penalty yardage, and I think he got the first down. Looks like so that was a great job there by Reed Robinson on the quarterback keeper.
Yeah, if anybody's going to save this team from the penalties, it's going to be Robinson.
As he's been able to kind of take on the responsibility of the whole offense, as you see here with a handoff. Market obviously getting to second down. No gain, it seems like. And if there may have been one, probably just a yard. And kind of seeing this back and forth of big play here, smaller one, and then another big, but for it to be called back. People who are taking blood pressure medication over in New Carlisle, Indiana, are probably not happy with the way this game is going so far. We'll see. Just a brief pause coming through here, a timeout, and just a refresher for everyone here, and especially with how it probably still is this time of year in Indiana, and especially over in kind of the Midwest, you can only imagine that weather would probably still have a bit of a potential effect, especially with certain storm systems being more prevalent in the Midwest than perhaps maybe along the eastern seaboard or even out west.
Yeah, absolutely. And you want to make sure those guys are getting hydrated as well. Those nights can be humid, this time of year as we're almost transitioning into fall. So
I'm going to look here as there'll be a handoff that is going up the gut here, and it breaks away on the outside. New Prairie getting a new sense of life as seemingly no flags coming through. We'll find out in a moment, although he looks like another hold against the Cougars of New Prairie. And with how much the progression has really come through, and this drive has been relatively productive. I mean, this is just stuff you're beside yourself seeing.
Yeah, I mean, they've done it again. Just the Cougars just really shooting themselves in the foot the whole game, and that one is huge there, Jaydon.
Guys, this kills me as a former offensive lineman. This is like pain watching all these holding penalties. This is, you're killing your skilled guys with this because they're getting these good runs downfield, making these plays, and you're bringing the offense back. I know Coach Ryan O'Shea is not loving what he's seen from his ball club there with all the penalties. So trust me, there's gonna be a lot of running come Monday, boys.
More than likely, and these are the mistakes you can't make. And maybe Robinson, speaking of running, will get even more yardage. He's already in contention for player of the game, looking at the New Prairie side of things, as he's able to get across the 45 before being wrapped up.
Yeah, it's pretty much Robinson just trying to run away the penalties pretty much. And, I mean, he's been doing a good job of it, right? But it's so gut-wrenching, in those situations when you just, get a flag there and, it's such a big run, big, huge play that you really need. And, something like that. Robinson is doing a really good job. He's been doing a really good job of keeping them in this ballgame.
And we'll get the high snap here. Robinson will keep it himself, running on the left side before being kind of dragged down by the shoulder as he broke the 50 and gets into Eagle territory. Mark him at about the 47 to the 48. And getting kind of a bit of separation here. And there's going to be a face mask called against
the Eagles.
Horse collar tackle, on the Eagles. So for once, the Cougars are able to catch a break and get even more yardage out of that sequence.
Yeah, so I think, if I'm not mistaken there, Jaydon, that first game that we broadcast is what was a New Prairie game.
Robinson from that spot, a 15-yard
penalty.
penalty.
I think it's just
For a horse collar tackle, moves the ball to the Eagle 43-yard line. Good enough.
Just cause different aspects to a change in the game.
Yeah, as we see a end around there, which gains some good yardage. But yes, the penalties have been a problem for New Prairie, and now they get a break here. But with the horse collar tackle, but if you're the Eagles, you can't you can't do that. That's easy 15 yards. You can't do that.
Especially with the way the tackling, though, and kind of the way to go about it changing so much. We see it at the NFL level where, the hip drop is kind of taken away from people too. So especially at the high school level, players are still trying to figure out, how to be able to, tackle properly yet effectively. And there's a handoff over on the left side as one tackle is broken, but immediately gobbled up by another coming through that line, moving forward, and seems to get at least an initial block up front from Lee Atherton, number 77, who is both offensive and defensive line. The junior 6'1", 284. That boy was moving over on that far side, just unfortunately for the Cougars. Not too much here as we get to a 2nd and 5 with time again, slowly beginning to kind of tick away here for both, but we will have a pause and a timeout.
Yeah, and I said earlier that they had to. I wanted to see some jet sweeps implemented, and here they go. They run 2 back to back. So I like to see that, implementing some more wrinkles into your run game, which is what you lean heavily on. Give Reed Robinson a break. I think he's earned it tonight. Let him sit there and kind of hand the ball off a few times. He's probably gassed out of his mind, but great play, and we'll see if the Cougars can punch it in.
Yeah, I think if they can ride Robinson, all the way to the end, that's that's really the game plan here for them. But I mean, it's like you just can't rely on him for every play, right? Because everybody has stamina, and Robinson doesn't really have all the stamina in the world. So I think he's going to be able to do a lot for this team. But I mean, there's going to have to be other players that are going to have to step up.
And they will look to at least step up, and especially with the key moment right now and being down by over a score ever so slightly, as Robinson will look off to the left. The play probably coming in just as you can see at the bottom left of your screen, one of the coaches kind of making a signal with an end around and sneaking back over into the middle of the fray, Lucas Hallerman, and then tackled down after an impressive gain nonetheless, as look to be getting closer to the doorsteps of that end zone.
Yeah, a really good pick up there to the right side. You think getting within maybe the 5 there in Eagles territory. And this is exactly where the Cougars want to be. But, I mean, you really cannot have another flag here. I think, if you have another flag here, the coach might lose his mind.
Yeah, hair is definitely coming out of his head if they have another flag here, guys. But Robinson keeps it.
Well, look to get in.
Score.
Indeed, a touchdown for the Cougars. And Robinson making himself a one-man show. The referees immediately showing hands off to the side. And as you can see on our graphic here, the pride of Mountain Lions coming through to the goalpost. And so at least for the moment, 14-12 our score. And we'll look to see whether or not they decide to go for 2 in this scenario. Or do you think it's actually more wise to go with just the almost guaranteed 1?
Yeah, I mean, I think you almost have to go for 2 here now because you did it on the first try, right? So, to tie it up, I think this is a really good decision here.
And we'll see how this 2-point conversion goes. It'll be a throw on the run over to the far side, and the 2-point conversion is good.
That was nice.
So a huge play there, and of course to our friend Will Farrell on the upper left of our screen reminding us that, well, now this game's all tied up 14 apiece. So now if you're the Eagles, after seeing a bit of resilience coming through with the Cougars, is there a bit more pressure now?
Yeah, I mean, just a really good play there. Hand off to the right side, able to get that pass there to the corner. I mean, just a brilliant play. But I mean, I think the pressure might be in the Eagles' corner now because it's a tie ball game, just like that. And I mean, the Eagles, I think they have to answer back because the Cougars, are kind of building some momentum here. So the Eagles are gonna have to try to answer the bell.
Yeah, that was a great play. I mean, look, Ben Johnson-esque like of a play call. You have the end around, and then you have the guy throw it to somebody in the end zone. So nice play call there by the offensive staff for the Cougars. And yeah, tie game, guys. We got a good one.
Oh, indeed we do. And actually the one to get the play or the throw off, Trenton Mamaza, one name that you don't often see come around, at least with the passing side of the football here, as Robinson coming into the game via max preps have been the only eligible player. And immediately off the kickoff return, it'll be a good run up along the far sideline towards the left for the Eagles. So getting out of bounds just across the 40, maybe mark them at the 42. The Eagles respond pretty well there too.
Yeah, I mean, just a really good run back there, to the left side and able to find some room, not able to break it completely, but, getting across the 40, that is really good starting field position. I guess it's going to be maybe 35. It kind of looked like the 40, but yeah, about the 35, still a really good field position here for the Eagles.
Another high snap there, but Eagles able to get some yards out of it. I mean, guys, I'm telling you, man, they're gonna have to get those snaps now.
Yeah, and I think before I got here, I didn't really think that this was going on here. But yeah, these high snaps are crucial as a really good run up the middle.
Comes through as Monty McKeel, rather, is able to at least get over to the N&P logo at midfield. But, I mean, again, you're right. And you probably end up seeing this more at the high school level of football. Maybe the one exception being IMG Academy down in Florida. But you have to kind of remember that if they were to play against the 2016 Cleveland Browns, they might have a chance to actually win that game. So IMG is certainly in a league of their own, as the run will continue to go up the middle, as McGill will just look the stat pad coming on through. As up on the program here, the scoreboard, we're at a 1st and 10, 3:28 to go.
Yeah, so that's gonna bring up a second and manageable, but I mean, yeah, it's been the run game here for the Eagles. It's been working well,
and at least trying to get something to work well. Although that run off to the left side kind of bounced off of the tackle to at least get a chance to get around. We'll end up getting ourselves to a 3rd and 6 situation immediately coming off the field, getting his number called out. It'll be Tyler Pranger and Lane Solt, who we did talk about a bit earlier, having a big kind of presence on the defensive side of the football. We'll look to kind of scare the Eagles as they'll motion a receiver over to the left side, and a quarterback keep will push towards getting yardage over on the outside. And we'll find out in a moment whether or not they're actually able to get across here. Looks like
he's just short.
4th and 1.
Yeah, I think a really good play there, on 3rd and 3. But yeah, just not able to get there. Really good tackle, open field tackle, and that brings up a crucial 4th down here, boys.
Especially at a tie ball game, man. The New Prairie looking to hold through a high snap. This one's going to get away and get even further back. And the Eagles will lose things here and a grasp of the situation is the very least of what they lost. As a turnover on downs will allow New Prairie, who, especially after getting the touchdown to tie it up, really have the momentum going right now.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Jaydon. I mean, yeah, you said it. You said it blatantly that they needed to get these snaps under control, and I mean that's huge there for the Cougars.
Yeah, I mean, looks like, I don't know, man. Maybe the centers are seeing like some sort of invisible ghost or presence here on the defensive side while it's making them get these snaps out fast and quick, because they're coming out too quick for these quarterbacks to handle. As we see a normal snap there.
I think you're right on the outside. And, again, one of the more noticeable national examples was, again, when the Denver Broncos took on Seattle Seahawks in Super Bowl 48, where Peyton Manning's first snap was high into the end zone. You saw how that can easily derail a football game, and Seattle kind of won in convincing fashion here. Scaling it back down to where we have, New Prairie and South Bend Adams that, had that happened at maybe the 4th quarter with 1:40 to go, thankfully for South Bend, that isn't where they had that happen. But still, I mean, you have to imagine regardless, and even with that scenario, it means it weighs a lot as Robinson will take it on the outside towards the right, although he's met after barely getting a running start. So we'll take a look at ourselves down to 3rd and 5. But, if you are South Bend Adams here, do you rely more on the passing game to try to make up ground quickly, or do you try to find more of a push towards the run side, or do you even just, I guess, balance? Like, what do we do here?
Yeah, I mean, third and just about 6. I think it should be a pass play here, but I just wouldn't be surprised with the run with Robinson.
Well, Robinson will have to keep it himself here as he'll get through one tackler. He's still upright as he'll kind of dive on down, but mark him well short of the line at 4th and 3. And again, sub 30 seconds to go here in the third quarter before we have our final quarter of Indiana high school football. Robinson, again, over on the side, will look to just get a conversation in, as it seems like he was also having a brief discussion with Trenton Mamaza, as even more personnel are going over to the sideline, and we apparently have a timeout on our hands.
Yeah, and I think that might be the end of the third quarter there, as I think they're just letting the clock run down, I believe.
Yeah.
And indeed, yes, that very much is the could be the case here. So definitely good catch, and especially with you two on the call the previous game. Maybe this is more common to kind of just have a timeout, if you will, to let the clock go down.
I mean, guys, I have one thing. Like, how in the world does Reed Robinson still have energy? I mean, this guy has been running all night long. I mean, it's like he's freaking Captain America out here with the super serum. I mean, there's no way this guy should have all this stamina left. I would be completely gassed by now, but he's pulling through, man, for this team. And, we'll see if he can take him through the finish line. One more quarter to go.
Yeah, I think just some really good football here, as it's going to be another 4th down as we enter the fourth quarter here. It's going to be a 4th and 2. So I mean, it's like the Cougars, they brought the Eagles to a 4th down as well, right? So now it's the Cougars' turn to try and get a 4th down, and I mean, 14-14. It doesn't get much closer than this, boys.
Well, indeed, it does not. As again, the Panthers, or rather the Cougars, will line up through here, New Prairie, and they'll get a run through the kind of interior along the right side, and I believe that will be enough for them to be able to get across here. So we'll mark it as a 1st and 10. And what a way to kind of keep things alive here for New Prairie.
Yeah, I mean, just a really good play call there. Able to just kind of get that up the gut, up the right side, and it would convert the 1st down. So, what the Eagles couldn't, the Cougars were able to, and now they're cooking again.
Robinson from the shotgun will hand it off interior to his running back, and he'll continue to get maybe a couple more yards off after the initial touch, as we'll take a look at 2nd down here. 2nd and 7 to be specific.
Yeah, I want to see if the Cougars can finish this drive into the end zone. No penalties. Okay, I want to see if they can finish this drive, make it clean, get it to the end zone, take the lead here. And just keep going with what's working for you. And that run game has been there all night long. South Bend Adams has not been able to stop it. So.
Well, that and accumulating well over 20 yards in penalties does not help the cause, as it's almost like a step back that you see here after the initial throw coming from Robinson, and maybe a yard to gain, maybe not, but nonetheless, mark it down as 3rd and 7. Now, in fact, we'll actually push it to 3rd and 4, and at least some positive yardage here. So do you think there's any necessarily need to stress if we have to go down to 4th down to be able to push across the 1st down marker if you're New Prairie?
Yeah, I mean, I think if it does come to 4th down, it's to me a different story. I think they would go for it, but here's a 3rd and 4.
They'll take the 3rd and 4 look, and it's a keeper on the outside, and Robinson's going to take it all the way through. He dives, and we'll call it, at least for now, a touchdown here for New Prairie, pulling out all the stops against their rivals here tonight. South Bend Adams cannot believe it.
I
And a
can't
bit of a
either.
razzle dazzle.
This guy's unbelievable. There is no way. He has like what, 3-4 touchdowns tonight?
My gosh, we'll mark that number 3.
Yeah,
Holy.
boys, I think he faked out the whole stadium with that one. Because that was that faked out the whole defense for sure. Faked them out of their shoes, able to get in for the third score, of this game, and now it looks like they have a kicking team, boys.
Well, we'll get the snap. The hold's good, and the kick right on through. A bit of a bullet, in fact. And New Prairie, after a majority of this game looking like they weren't able to find their way through, and after an 0-3 start, it just seemed like the woes would continue. Now we're looking at a 21-14 ball game, and all of a sudden, South Bend Adams on the wrong side of the Lifetime Series yet again versus New Prairie as the Cougars hold that 7-2 overall.
Yeah, I think a really good call there, for the field goal, as able to make this a 7-point ball game. I think that first play call was really just to kind of fill the water on things. If they could get a 2-point conversion there in, but they could not. So I think they did make the right call there. Got the field goal, made it a 7-point ball game, and with 10 minutes left to go, the Eagles have a
Guys, I think if New Prairie holds on to win this game, we got to build a statue of of Reed Robinson here in the school. I mean, because he has saved them tonight for sure. But we'll see. Still got 9 minutes 44 to go. But so far, it's been the Reed Robinson show.
And indeed, as that ball retained at the 40-yard line, that kick had a lot of hang time to it, just maybe not the distance so much. And we'll start things out for the Eagles at the 40-yard line, who, again, guys, I really just can't believe the way this team has turned out here. The Cougars just turning on a jet out of nowhere, it seems like, offensively.
Yeah, I mean, it's been the Cougars show here in the second half, and they take a 7-point lead. So now the Eagles, it's their turn to answer.
We'll look to do so as they'll get something up the middle over by the New Prairie logo at midfield. And so, again, starting here with sub 10 minutes to go. A bit of a march coming up for the Eagles after an initial burst here. We'll look to repeat again at 1st and 10 with the quarterback again lining up. And Bryce just off to the right. As we pause, and then a quick throw over the outside, and it's dropped. It'll hit the grass.
Jaydon key pass intended for number 8, Khalil Kimbrough, is incomplete. 2nd down and 10 from the 50-yard line.
Down here, 2nd and 10. You got to convert sooner rather than later.
Yeah, just not able to hit them there in the numbers. That'll bring up a 2nd and long, but I do expect another pass play maybe.
Instead, they'll go with the handoff in the middle, and this ball's actually going to get nowhere. So 3rd down coming up for the Cougars. All of a sudden, seemed like they are all over the football. Just looked like they needed to wake up ever so slightly. But nonetheless, New Prairie, my goodness.
Yeah, I don't like that play call offensively for the Eagles there. I mean, 2nd and 10, and you do a run up the middle. I just didn't think that was the best idea because New Prairie right now, like you said, they're hyped up and they're playing the run. I would have probably went for a short pass there to get some positive yardage back, but here we are, 3rd and 10, guys.
Jeffrey Seitz will run from left to right, and we'll actually get over into the slot. As trying to get away from the danger is Keene. He'll get away, at least initially, across the initial line of scrimmage, and will get out of bounds. We'll find out in a moment just how many yards he was able to take up with him. But at least for right now, it comes up as 4th down. Again, just a matter of how many yards he was able to take off on the run. Looked like he got him to 4th and 1. Do you go for it here?
I mean, I think all the chips in, right? And, yeah, if I were them, I would definitely go for it. And I think they are. So another 4th down here, and they really need to convert.
And they'll look to do so. A handle over behind the line, and they'll rush on through. A bit of a stand-up along the line, but I do believe they will get it here.
Yeah, I
Yep.
think was able to pick up a good chunk there, able to pick up the 1st down. That's very different from that the other 4th down. There in the beginning of this 4th quarter.
Extremely different in the fact that, well, now they can really try to get us to overtime. Should that be the case, it'll be a deep ball here from Keene. He tries to find his man, and the pass well out of bounds. As you can see, his intended target almost over by the parking lot by the time he was able to slow up the brakes. So after a long strike along the right side, we'll bring up 2nd and 10.
Yeah, I like the idea of the shot there. They had it dialed up and just couldn't connect, and DB played it well. Use the sideline as an extra defender. We hear that a lot in football, right? And it helps these defensive backs and just able to disrupt the pass there. So 2nd and 10.
Now with the 2nd and 10, they will look to go with the pass as trying to get away again from danger is Keene. He'll look to dump it off on the right side, and they're wrapped up just beyond the marker. But it looks like there will be enough to get the 1st down, so we'll reset at 1st and 10.
Yeah, I think a really good play there, here for the Eagles. Yeah, I mean, with 8 minutes to go to bring up 3rd down, with 8 minutes to go, it's a really crucial 3rd down here for John Adams.
Big hit over on the near side, and Bryce gets knocked on down. And getting over on the coverage.
Tackled by number 10, Trenton Manaza.
That was a big hit, so I hope he is okay there.
Loss of 4 yards on the play to the 37-yard line. It will be 4th down and 11.
Down to 4th and 11 for the Eagles.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be a huge 4th down here. I mean, I would, definitely not call game here. If they weren't able to get it. But it's going to be a crucial play here for the Eagles, and yeah, they're going to have to think of something quick. Is 4th and 11. There's not a lot of plays in the playbook that you can call here.
Well, we know they're definitely not going to run it. It's going to be a pass for sure, I would have to think. So we will see.
As he drops back, getting through, Keene will look to go deep, and a flag over down the field, and it may be pass interference. We'll find out in a moment. As a bit of confusion from the safeties there and a bit of frustration. So it does seem like, in fact, that New Prairie is going to surrender even more yardage.
Yeah, boys, and that's just huge. Here for the Cougars, as I mean, that's that might have been complete there, but the receiver wasn't even looking. So it's like I don't see how you can get how you can get a flag there on 4th and 11.
Well,
yeah. That's that. There's no reason that should have been a penalty. He wasn't going to get that pass anyway, and it's not a smart play there by the defensive back. So fresh set of downs.
And we'll get through with a run. This time they can go through. Another flag coming in right in front of the body of Jaydon Keene. So again, if you're any member of the Eagles faithful, a bit more of a life to come on through, and at least hopefully to push the offense to be able to score as we'll get through. But there will be a call against the Eagles, so they will be pushed back ever so slightly. And for the Cougars, this is probably a huge sigh of relief.
Yeah, I think that Cougars penalty, that was huge, but this penalty here, for the Eagles might be even bigger as it brings up a 1st and 16.
And after the 1st and 16, the throw on the run, and it is caught over on the outside. And this time the Eagles will get across 6.
Wow, that was a great play. Rolling to his right, King just launched up in the air and found that guy in the end zone. I mean, that was an amazing play for the Eagles here. So they look to tie this game up.
Yeah, I think a really good play call there. 1st and 16. I think the defender, just lost his man, right? Is wide open there in the end zone, able to get that catch for a touchdown. I don't know what the ref was calling. Another flag here?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we'll see another, as they did kind of look like almost that there were offsetting penalties. So for at least right now, and unless Josh Reagan, who is kind of our Lord and Savior, if you will, along with officially in attendance tonight.
Number 42, Eric
Absolutely.
Garcia
As
is
we
on to
go,
attempt the point after touchdown.
Sports.
Yeah, sportsmanlike conduct, right?
Absolutely. Touchdown, so good.
All right, I just wanted to confirm that at least. So the kick here will tie it up.
Yeah, so it's actually going to be on the Eagles. I thought it was on the Cougars. So this extra point is that much harder there for the Eagles and that much more important.
Man, it's looking to try to get away here with the kick, although we had something come up. It looked like maybe a flag through, but they will say that the kick is good. So after the unsportsmanlike penalty called against the Eagles here, all of a sudden they have grabbed the momentum back ever so slightly off of the booming kick of Eric Garcialzo, the senior 5'10", 185. Certainly looked like maybe the right-legged version of Sebastian Janikowski with how hard that ball came off of his cleat.
Yeah, just a huge kick there. As it kind of was looking a little bleak there for the Eagles. In a 1-point game with 4 minutes left to go. You almost have to make that there. And Jaydon, he nailed it. Not very much, but he was able to get that.
Yeah, he is straight through, man. And you gotta have you gotta have a good kicker, man. Football now, and we see it in the pros all the time, and even boiling down to the high school level, it's good to have a kicker that you can rely on, and he was able to nail that even after the penalty backed him up. So nice play, man. Now we got a tie game, so we'll see what the Cougars can do here offensively to respond.
Well, they still have a bit of the momentum. They were able to take the lead back after an initial stumble against the Eagles, but we'll line up here for the opening kickoff following the touchdown and PAT. A slow dribbler that will get to the end zone. So a touchback for New Prairie and company will get through. And especially at this stage of the game, if you're a part of the offensive personnel, both Dustin and Jaydon, are you leaning more pass, more run here, or where do you think the direction should be for the offense of New Prairie?
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
No, man.
I was gonna say, yeah, man. I think I'm leaning. You got 6 minutes 34 seconds. You can mix in some of both, but I definitely want to drain as much clock as possible if I am the Cougars here, and not let this Eagles offense back onto the field. So I would say just a little bit of both, but probably lean more so towards the run. Heck, you got the freaking Prometheus there at quarterback and Reed Robinson.
Well, indeed we do. Again, it'll be a close clash with the Titans for both sides, but an immediate run here will bring up second down. And for the Cougars, again, 21-all is your score alongside Dustin Carrasco and Jaydon Gay. I'm Bryan Foley, and we thank you so much for tuning in to this presentation of Indiana High School football on RCSPN TV. New Carlisle, as we really have gotten into what has probably been one of the best games so far here in the early going of the season. As again, we are at week 4 with not too much time remaining for the regular season of these teams. Robinson will keep it himself over on the right side, able to get by one tackler, and he breaks another. And he's able to dive before being wrapped up initially by the defense on that far side. Another flag coming through here, a little bit of a scuffle. So you wonder what exactly the flag may be for.
Yeah, a lot going on that play. Just of course, elusiveness from Robinson, just able to pull a bit of a matrix, on a lot of those tackles. But I mean, yeah, go to these penalties, and it kind of looked like it might be both sides, and maybe unsportsmanlike conduct on both, Jaydon.
Possibly. We'll see what the call is here from the referee.
And in looking at the call, seems like there was a hold over on the Eagles. At least initially. We'll see if there might be anything further. Looks like the referees are conferring.
Oh my, yeah, I think unsportsmanlike conduct on the Eagles, and also maybe, I think it was another like unsportsmanlike conduct like play or a penalty.
So a double decker for the the Cougars to be able to build off of here. So, I mean, especially with, again, you're not under 5 minutes to go. You still have 6:34, but with the advancement, as you can see, the Cougars getting well past midfield. They are marching well up in. This changes the game entirely.
I mean, this is – I mean, you can't – I can't emphasize enough, I mean, how much penalties destroy you as a team. You can't do these things, and this is what happens as a result. And now you have a short field for your defense with a quarterback again in a run game, and that's just unstoppable. I mean, what do you do for the Eagles right here?
Well, potentially may need to take a timeout, as you see the coaching staff, at least for the Cougars, will step on out. And maybe this is the pause, quite literally, that the Eagles end up kind of needing here. As you saw, they were essentially around the 40-yard line in their own territory. Now you're getting up to about the 30. You just don't see that kind of jump unless really something had to have gone wrong.
Yeah, I think not really offsetting penalties there, as that was, I believe, a cumulative of about 30 yards there, for the Cougars, and so able to get well into Eagles territory. And I mean, don't look now, but the Cougars are cooking with under 6 to go.
So you can see with the student section and the individual in the Cougar mascot costume trying to get the crowd in on the mix. And again, with how things have really shaped out here in New Carlisle, Indiana, one might think that this has really just been one of the best games all year. I mean, and currently we sit in New Carlisle where it's 68 degrees, so it isn't like the heat or the cold really plays a factor, but the run will get over the 20-yard line, mark him down at the 17. As looking like the defender into the mix, John Bond, who was one of Josh Reagan's players to watch for South Bend Adams, was a little bit slow to get up here, but again, for the Cougars, making a nice advancement, working 1st and 10. Elements looking pretty pristine towards the end of this game. No precipitation, so we're not going to get any extra features from Mother Nature in this game.
Yeah, I don't think either team could use any of that right now. They've already had enough kind of happen so far, but you got Robinson here again.
On the outside, breaking through, and he sneaks on in for the touchdown. The Cougars jumping ahead yet again with 4:50 remaining in the clock on our scoreboard, continuing to go. The Cougars, oh my goodness, here. And don't look now. Take your heart pressure pills, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, there's no way with this man. I mean, Robinson is his fourth TD, of the game. He has all 4 TDs for the Cougars, and my goodness, he's just looking like the Flash out there. Maybe Superman or Batman, but he is definitely the focal point of this offense.
Jaydon, what are your thoughts here? I mean, I know you've been here from the beginning, but like this is none of you and I could not have predicted this at pregame.
I mean, look, I know that Reed Robinson was the focal point of his offense, but I mean, to have all 4 touchdowns for this team is just outright insane. I mean, this guy, I mean, it's like it's the first quarter. Like he looks like he has the same amount of energy. Guys, I'm telling you, he's taking some type of serum. He could be Flash or Captain America. I don't know who he is, man, but he's not of this world right now as he scores another touchdown.
Well, at least we know one thing for certain. He is Captain Reed Robinson here for this Cougars and Coach O'Shea's team. And with the band full in attendance, the crowd, as we saw in panning over to the left earlier from our courageous cameraman, Josh Reagan, that people are lining up to be able to come see this kind of matchup here. And for the Cougars, I mean, this is even more than just trying to get your season back on track. This is about trying to maintain the level of dominance you've had over South Bend Adams since Reagan was president. Think about that. But maybe it's the inverse here, especially with the Cougars being 0-3.
Yeah, most definitely. The Cougars able to get that extra point to go, so they'll make it a 7-point ball game. But yeah, it's been the Robinson show, all game long. I mean, they've really been riding this man. And if the Eagles can't get anything here, he might have rode him to victory.
We'll hope to kind of find out what happens here. It's a squib kick over on the near side as contact is made with the recipient of the football here for South Bend Adams. That will be Kane Goddard, the tight end wide receiver, a really offensive specialist coming in on special teams for the Eagles. So this is decent positioning, at least now, for the Eagles. And with 5:14 on the clock, one would think that there is plenty of time to at least get something across, no?
Oh, definitely. You got plenty of time. I think if you're the Eagles, you don't go into panic mode just yet, right? You don't need to start slinging the ball over the field because you don't want to turn the ball over here. No interceptions, no fumbles, things of that nature. So, still run your offense how you run it, but get positive yardage, stay ahead of the chains here.
And they'll look to do so with a receiver in motion, that being Clay Kimbrough. And it's a throw over the middle, and it's completed all across the center of the field and down to the 20-yard line are the Eagles. My goodness, a big pendulum here offensively, and already the Eagles kind of rolling through here, although it looks like this may end up getting called back after a few hands are starting to go up for the Eagles. And if that is truly the case, this has been kind of plaguing both teams. But especially in this scenario, what goes through your mind?
I have no words. It looks like an ineligible man downfield is the call, and you got to be aware of these things, man. If you're a lineman, which is probably often the case here on these calls, you got to be aware of the quarterback and what's going on. So, voidable, but 1st and 15 wipes out the game.
Yeah, I mean it's just crazy to see. I think that's been the story all game long, right? So it's just been penalties for both teams, and I mean none bigger than this one right here with about 5 minutes left to go.
Indeed, 5:07 here in the fourth corner, taking it out of the shotgun will be Keene. He looks to go deep on the far side and off the fingertips of his receiver down deep. As Leighton Presbodowski had it off the actual fingertips of his gloves. I mean, you hear it time and time again that if you can get a hand on the ball, you should be able to bring it in. I mean, that even in itself would have been a phenomenal play made by the wideout.
Yeah, I mean, it's just another opportunity there. Just overthrows him, and yeah, I mean, you're kind of running out of chances. If you're the Eagles.
Indeed is the case. Seems to still show 1st and 15 on the clock, but we'll have a run over the outside, taking it McKeel, and he's going to get some separation here. He's going to keep on going on that right side before he's finally... No, he's going to be pushed all the way back here, and a touchdown comes in for South Bend Adams.
Are you kidding me?
After what looked like the stall of the century, the Eagles come swooping all the way through.
Yeah, I think this game has pulled out pretty much everything you could possibly want as 28-27 ball game. And this is not a tie ball game just yet. This is a huge extra point here. And it's about 4 minutes left to go. It might be one that is needed to make.
Garcia-Laga will line up for the PAT. He'll fire away, and this one's right down Broadway. Less than 4 minutes to go, and what it might show that now we got ourselves a tie ball game yet again, with the Cougars getting up to the chance here offensively to try to put this one away. But, this game truly could not have expected. We can look at our predictions as to really what could have been the full end result here, but at least through mine had South Bend Adams kind of take this one here, but by no means had I thought that we would eclipse 21 points, let alone being at 28 all.
No, not at all. And this is just like this is mind-boggling, and this is what Friday night football is about, man. And it's fun and it's electric, and these back and forths you love to see as a player, as a coach, as a fan. And screw the Eagles just trying to, hey, we're just going to control the clock and just do our thing. No, they said, hey, we're going to score. So they said, screw what I said, but hey, tie ball game. Let's see what happens.
Garcia-Laga will kick off
Indeed,
for
we'll
the
look to
Eagles.
see as they'll line up there, kick off the deep. And looking at our pregame predictions, at least you had South Bend Adams presumably taking the 23-7 victory here, whereas I had put us at 4.6 here with the Eagles. But again, expectations have been well exceeded for everyone in physical attendance. After the one half of the get in just the 5-yard line, the defense of the Eagles comes in on 50 here, and so it will be a bit for the Cougars, who are working to get the job done following the game-tying touchdown by South Bend Adams.
Yeah, so talk about momentum as
return of 8 yards to the 9-yard line. The Cougars will start there, 1st and 10.
In the backfield, and just able to put a lot of pressure on this Cougars offense to try to possibly end this in regulation.
And in front of the faithful, Cougars specifically will look to try to push the all-time series 8-2 in their favor. As we're taking moves on the outside yet again is Reed
Number
Robinson.
3, Reed Robinson, the ball
Now
carrier.
just getting brought down here. The whistle is not being blown for quite some time.
Gain of 6 yards to the 15-yard
Still
line.
some time to
Second
go, but
down.
remember, we still have the 2-minute warning.
Yeah, it's just been Robinson all the time, right? And if we had the stat sheet for this dude, I think he's had so much yards. It's crazy, 4 TDs. This dude is just insane.
Well, presumably looking to be over 150 yards of some kind in total offense, as Robinson will be brought down, but not before a decent gain, as they'll look to be at about 2nd and 3 following, and actually they'll look to go to 1st and 10, and that run along the near side a bit more productive than previously thought. So again, here with 3:30 to go and remaining, that can we see some late game heroics with potentially a field goal deciding this?
Possibly. Look, you got the guy to do it to get you downfield, and it's so hard scheming against a player like this on defense, because as we have a huge run break off here.
Oh my goodness, it'll be a huge play on the outside, getting some daylight. It's Donald Morris Jr. and he sprints on into the end zone. Can you physically believe it? Everyone in virtual attendance, the Cougars will jump ahead here. And seeing Jaydon and myself's reactions, you can't see us, but Dustin, your face and reaction says it all. I mean, what is going on here in New Carlisle, Indiana?
Yeah, I mean, it's there's not much to say about that, man. It's just been a show put on, by these two teams, and yeah, I mean, able to break loose with about 3 minutes left to go. I mean, this has just been insane.
Lucas Halderman was the one to get away with the huge rip offensively, but this kick looks like it was no good. So might be an interesting way to finish, and we'll see if the PAT not being converted could cost the Cougars going forward. And so for the moment, 34-28 is where your score sits. And just as we were talking again about our pregame predictions, this just blows it way out of the water, Jaydon.
Absolutely. I mean, I did not have this many points being scored, and this is crazy. I mean, the over-under has got to be like what? I mean, I don't even know, but this is insane. And I talk about Reed Robinson, but Lucas Alderman, a great play by him, and the defense was not expecting that, and they hit him right where they should have hit it, and he took it the distance. So great play call there by the Cougar staff.
Even more notably, no flags.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you had the under this one, you were feeling really good coming into the second half. But now I think not so good. As I think this one definitely had to have hit the over. I mean, a 34-28 ball game.
Without a doubt, it could have been seen on DraftKings or your hometown bookie coming through with that. But a low squib kick that'll be taken in by the Eagles as there's progression over beyond the 30-yard line. They'll break free, and will be brought down at just about the 40-yard line. So, again, decent field positioning for the Eagles, and we've seen them rip off huge plays almost immediately after receiving the ball. So they can't really rule that possibility out here, but still a good kick nonetheless by Logan Chalik.
Yeah, I think this game has been a one for the books, for sure. As I mean, coming off of like a 70, 80-yard run there for the Cougars, and now the Eagles have a chance to, either tie this one up or win it with the extra point.
Look to be able to kind of see how this goes. Again, remaining with 2 minutes presumably remaining on the clock, although we'll find out in just a moment as to where the clock may be reset, and indeed we see 3:07. But is 3:07 still enough time for the Eagles to try to chip away here, Jaydon?
I mean, for this team, I mean, yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, this has been back and forth all game, so who knows, man? They might score like the next 3 plays. Who knows? But I think right now, if you're the Eagles,
number 44, Levi Kaplan. Gain of 3 yards
I think,
to the 42-yard line.
This game in particular, I think there's definitely a chance. I mean, really, as you saw in that previous play for the Cougars, all you need is like 10 seconds. So good pass here.
Keane will pardon the interruption, but Keane will find his man wide on open and a touchdown for South Bend.
There it is.
For a 58-yard touchdown. Down on a scoring drive with 61 yards in 2 plays. The scoring play, a 58-yard touchdown pass from number 3, Jaydon King, to number 8, Cleo Kimbrough. Number 42, Eric Garcia-Lazo will attempt the point after touchdown.
Say the next 3 plays, guys. It took them just one.
The PAT, it's up. and it's good.
The point after
The
touchdown
Eagles
kick by
jump
number 42,
ahead by one
Eric
over the
Garcia
Cougars.
Lazo is good. The
Confirmed by
score,
Will Ferrell
John
of all
Adams
people.
35, New Prairie
What a game
34.
this past man as 2:16 is all that remains for the Cougars to try to come back here and take the victory.
Yeah, it's crazy. I'm looking at my TV, it says Friday Night Lights and all the high school football games. I think this one might be the best. As 35 to 34. I think in a regular game, this one is over. But it's all the Cougars really need is the players to offense. They can lead their day.
Yeah, I mean, I have no words. Like I said, it'll be the next 3 plays, and yours just one. So, 35-34 now. Cougars have a chance to answer. This is Friday night football. That's last week, but it's spotlight on Indiana football right now. These guys are playing their parts.
Yeah, I think
Number
if,
42, Eric
this
Garcia
game,
Lazo will
you
kick
know,
off for the Eagles.
the game for fantasy football, I think you'd be really happy to be there.
Number 13, Sully Press receives the kickoff at the 5-yard line.
Cougars will be able to get themselves up at least to 30. But moving into our third reporter, Josh Reagan, I mean, what are you feeling and seeing from
Return of 28 yards to the 33-yard line. The Cougars will take over there, first and 10.
How up and down this game.
Yeah, it's been like a roller coaster here as we go. As it's been back and forth, kind of a heavy battle here as we go. Heavy boxing match as we go. As smash mouth is all we'll get.
Let's see that continue here. Robinson will spin away from Jaydon initially, but then he is absolutely blown up in the backfield. First time all night that the Eagles have been able to get to Robinson and company. And if you're seeing that right out of the rip here, maybe for the Eagles, you have a hope that they're able to kind of seal this one off for the victory.
It's a nice start. I mean, it's a great start. That's probably, like you said, the best play defensively that they had made on Reed Robinson all night. Getting him in the backfield. That's what you got to do against a guy like that. Before they even get a chance to look upfield, you got to belt them down in the offensive backfield, and they were able to do that there. So 2nd and 16 coming up.
Yeah, I think with Robinson, it's a good game, but they've really kind of put a lid on Robinson as of late.
And Robinson, again, will always look to take the responsibility of putting the offense on his back. But you do hope, if you are a fellow Cougar, that a bit of that responsibility gets to be shared. And right out of the rip, the defense is able to hold him back, but a flag will come in immediately following the conclusion of the scuffle, as the Eagles were right all on top of the play. And with 2:04 remaining, again, you're right at the 2-minute warning. You get that pause to be able to at least kind of reset the thinking here.
Yeah,
but
I think it's another flag there, Bryan.
Indeed, as we mentioned here, this one will be against the Eagles, however. And so, at least for New Prairie, getting their second win here almost, in a sense, to get up to where the new placement of the ball will be. I mean, this is, I think ultimately, as Jaydon said, we knew that New Prairie would be running as a result of maybe their woes on jumping the snap count or the penalties. But you also have to imagine come Monday afternoon practice, it might not be any easier for the Eagles.
No, absolutely not. It's going to be horrible. I can tell you that right now off rip.
But not with that play there, though, as the Eagles will wrap them up.
Yeah, I think a really good play there for the Eagles once again. able to blow him up there in the backfield. I mean, it's just been this Eagles defense really just kind of breathing down on this Cougars offense. Here in this late going, the Cougars, they did have a really good run, there to take the lead 34-28. But I mean, it's for the most part, it's been this Eagles defense really containing them.
And all of a sudden, it really seems like that Eagles defense has been able to kind of step up. And if you are a DC, though, this of all the times throughout a game is the point that you want these things to kind of be remembered by your defense and the principles of locking down. As again, we're looking at 147 to go. So with 3rd and 10, I mean, do you end up hitting the panic button if you're New Prairie?
I mean, I wouldn't say, hit the panic button just yet. I think in this situation you do have 2 downs here to get the first down, but yeah, 3rd and 10, you got to get something here.
And they'll look to go on deep. And coming up just short on the pass is Reed Robinson, who looked to go the distance to try to make a phenomenal play to gain some yardage. But it'll come up just short for the Cougars in gold.
That would have been a touchdown.
Without a doubt.
Like, he was wide. There was nobody back there. That would have been a walk-in touchdown for the Cougars if that pass was just a little bit shorter and he had caught that. But, hey, here we are, 4th and 15, so.
Yeah, Jaydon, I mean, you talk about, this game having, pretty much everything. That's the one thing that this game just was not able to have, I guess that because that was wide open, that was a touchdown. And I mean, on 3rd and long, I think they really needed that one, as it says 4th and 15. So I mean, 4th and 15, I would definitely say this is a ball game right here, boys.
And indeed it will be. Again, looking at the all-time series between the two, the only victories coming from the South Bend Adams side came on September 23rd of 1983 and September 22nd of 1984. 17-3 and 34-12 were your final scores in those contests. So what you mean to tell me is that not only have we had a phenomenal game, again, between two teams who have had a bit of a rougher start to their 2025 seasons, but we could potentially see a victory come through for a team that hasn't gotten one against New Prairie in 40 plus years. It'll be a double pitch with an end around on the outside, and the Cougars are able to get just past the 50-yard line before being shoved out between that and the 45. So all of a sudden, the Cougars are able to rip off that like a Band-Aid. My goodness.
Yeah, I mean, Jaydon, that's insane, man. I mean, it's game on the line. It's do or die, and you convert. It's just a really good play there.
Yeah, that was an awesome play, man. Great design. Love the double, in the round, and it was blocked perfectly on the edge too. I mean, that's what you love to see out your receivers blocking in the run game as well. As if you're a head coach, you really want to see that. That your guys aren't just divas; they'll go out there and block in the run game, and you see the result now. So you can really essentially do what you want here if you're the Cougars. Run it down if you want, and then go for it.
You can here is it's just in front of the 45-yard line. They'll look to go towards the left side. No avenues there, so it'll be a switcheroo for the Cougars, and he's tackled just at about the 41-yard line. So they are able to get something at least out of it. And with the clock pausing at about 1:13 to go, rather, we'll push it back to about 1:56. You have at least gotten one PAT up on the board before. You do have the kicker at your discretion, but I would think that, especially here with Robinson taking the football, just getting over the line of scrimmage and fighting for about 4 yards before being eventually pushed down, you would want to see Robinson get in the end zone to cap this one off.
Oh, yeah. it's textbook. It's meant to be. He's got a 5 touchdown game. I mean, why not? So we'll see what happens here. 27 seconds, but I mean, Dusty. I mean, yeah, this guy has just been fantastic for this team.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely, Jaydon. I think someone say, storybook. If he's able to, to get that final touchdown. But yeah, I mean, because it's been Robinson this whole entire game, so I think they're gonna let this one do or die in the hands of Robinson.
And speaking of which, Robinson is able to shut off the tackle, and he throws on the run, and it is incomplete, out of the hands of his intended receiver, Charlie Luzkowski. And that one would have really gotten us into an interesting predicament, but nonetheless, ends up getting us down to 3rd and 6.
Yeah, I believe about
4th and 6 now.
Yeah, I believe about 30 seconds maybe here to go. Here in this 4th quarter, and that would have been a really big pickup there, if they were able to convert. But it's going to be a big 4th down once again. And I mean, what can you really call here, Jaydon?
I mean, any of Reed Robinson playbook, any of the plays in his specific playbook. He has a playbook to himself. So you like any of those plays, you see what happens. And it looks like we're gonna have is it a penalty on the Cougars here?
Nah.
Well, we'll end up seeing just how much they'll end up being pushed back. As along the near side is Charlie Luzkowski, and slowly being joined by him is Trenton Mameza. So we do have a 4th and 11 here. The Cougars converted one not too long ago. As running over to the right is Reed Robinson. He'll pitch it back over to Mameza. He's pushed back further by defenders. They're going to pitch it back over to Sully Crest, who's trying to get around on the outside. He's going to be tripped up, and he's stopped, and the Eagles will get him down.
Oh, wow.
And the conversion will come up short for the Cougars at home. As at least to the moment, we have ourselves a 1st and 10 for the Eagles, 18 seconds remaining. And what an incredible stop by South Bend Adams. And if nothing crazy happens here, they will push the lifetime series to 7-3 in favor of New Prairie. And again, picking up that first win since 1984.
Yeah, I mean, amid, anything crazy happening here, as you said, I think the Eagles, are going to come away with this, I would say epic victory, as it was just a battle, both sides going back and forth, and for it to come down to, 1 point, I think that was fitting for this ballgame.
Yeah, that was, I mean, great stop there by the Eagles defense. It's what, I've been wanting to see, and they get the stop there. And yeah, victory formation, man, take a knee, and this is ball game. So,
and for the Eagles, again, this will mark their 2nd victory of the campaign in at least getting to 2-2, whereas the Cougars will now drop to 0-4 on the year. And despite how many times the penalties have come up as the final knee is taken in victory formation, and the South Bend Adams Eagles, in what has been an absolute thriller, blood pressure machines were exploding all over the country. Your final score, 35-34 in favor of South Bend Adams. Dusty and Jade, first of all, where can you even collect your thoughts on this one?
I can't.
Yeah, I mean, I would say the same, right? This game was insane. It was definitely one for the books, for sure. And for it to come down to a 4th down play, in Eagles territory, like it was amazing. I mean, just a really, really good game here tonight by these young boys, and I mean, my goodness, the Eagles able to pull it out by a score of 35-34.
I mean, just beyond incredible. I mean, and Jaydon, your final kind of thoughts here too. Again, I know you and I have had that much more time to see how this has gone on since the opening kickoff. Wow, is all I can say.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Wow is I think the best word that you could use to describe this. I mean, and this has been a game where both teams were plagued by penalties and some high snaps and just fundamental issues, but they were able to overcome it. But the Eagles were able to do it more so, even against a great performance by Reed Robinson. We got to give him credit here for a great game that he had, but unfortunately not enough. And I would say going forward, I think the Cougars have got to find a way to get some more of their players on offense incorporated into the game, because as you go deeper into the season, Dusty, you notice teams are going to have film on you. They're going to be prepared for things, especially you talking playoffs possibly. You can't rely on, Superman Robinson to save you all the time. So something to keep note of.
Yeah, I think Robinson he was, the man of the hour there for the Cougars. It's heartbreaking to lose by an extra point. But I mean, you got to give this man his flowers. I mean, he was just amazing. It was just his gameplay was off the charts, and yeah, he was a really good player here tonight.
Indeed, true that Caden Keene, of course, the man at the helm of the offense for the Eagles, coming through when they need to, especially with some key fourth quarter passes to at least put the Eagles in position to tie the game back up when the Cougars inevitably, or at least seemed like they were going to run away with it. Although the man with the catch of the century and the play was Khalil Kimbrough, taking it along the near sideline, being able to wrap it up for South Bend Adams, and taking a decisive victory, claiming their second of the year. Again, the Cougars dropping to 0-4. And before we step aside here for Josh Reagan and the rest of our crew, do you, Dusty or Jaydon, have any final thoughts before we step aside for the night?
I mean, yeah, it was just a really good game here tonight. Both these Cougars players and these Eagles players, they deserve this win, but only one could come out on top. And yeah, it's going to be the Eagles. So they come into New Prairie and they get a huge victory here tonight.
Yeah, like Dusty said, I mean, both these teams played phenomenal football tonight. And yeah, obviously stuff to correct, and it's going to be a long and very gruesome film session and practice for both these teams come Monday morning and Monday afternoon. But for now, you enjoy the win if you're the Eagles, and if you're the Cougars, keep moving, keep pushing forward, take it 1 week at a time.
And indeed, so you see New Prairie donning their helmets over to the home faithful that will come out here on a beautiful night. In fact, in New Carlisle, Indiana, temperatures ranging in the upper 60s. As we put the nightgown on this one, 35-34 in favor of the South Bend Adams Eagles. And Dusty and Jaydon, I am beyond honored to have shared the mic with both of you, especially from beginning to end. And glad you were able to come in and help us out, Dusty. And again, thank you so much for both of your time here tonight.
Of course, it's a great game. Enjoyed it.
Yeah, hell of a game here tonight.
Yeah, we'll send it along to Josh Reagan and company here. Bryan Foley signing off along with Jaydon Gay and Dustin Carrasco. We wish you all a great rest of your evening. Again, 35-34 in favor of the Eagles of South Bend Adams. Good night, everyone.